Oh, what an intro we've got here, guys. Did you see it? Did you see it? We're going to wait for a few more people to join, then we're going to play the whole thing again. We've got everything now, guys. We've got a full intro sounds. We're going to have better visuals. Just put a spinning logo up there for now. That'll have to do for today. Yeah, we're getting our head around this DaVinci Resolve software. I know all about how to use video edit software, but I've never used this one. But apparently, that's where all the cool kids are making videos now. So we're updating. Yeah, I could do it in Premiere Pro, I suppose, or whatever. But we want to go with DaVinci Resolve, right? Does everyone want to see the intro again? Thanks to our good friend Derek. Fantastic, Derek. Couldn't be more polished than that. Put a like on the video for Derek. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're up to version 4.0 now. We've got intro, outro, and plug music. The plug music is amazing. We've got well, I can't play that today because it's not prepared. But we'll play the outro at the end. It's an extended, or should we just play it now? Should we play it now? Let's have a little listen to the outro now. Why not? We've got all night. It's only 47 seconds. We can handle that. Where is it? This one. How official are we? We're proper pro now, guys. Fantastic stuff. Okay, tomorrow we'll probably be ready with the promo music, but I'll save that. Let's save the surprise until tomorrow. So we're back on Ezra McCandle's tonight, guys. Going on to the cross-examination. We finished up her directs yesterday. Ezra's had a fantastic time on the stand for 2 days, 3 days. How many days? Talking about herself, telling us how she's better than everybody in the room, telling us what a brilliant mind she has and how great her principles are. But it all changes when we go to cross, because this prosecutor, Mr. DeFore, is it? Mr. DeFore is not taking any prisoners. No prisoners for Mr. DeFore. He throws out questions like bullets. He throws out questions like bullets, and Ezra McCandle tries to dodge those bullets, right? And what does Mr. DeFore do? He just takes aim and fire. Another round. So she's actually opened the door. That fantastic term, opening the door. Should we do an explanation of that? Well, if anyone needs one, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. But Ezra McCandle has opened the door. Before trial, both sides will agree what is fair game to come in as evidence and what is not. And both sides agreed that something was not fair game to be brought in and would not be brought in as evidence. But if Ezra McCandle brings up something around that subject, the other side, the prosecutor in this case, will be permitted to use the evidence that was agreed not to come in because Ezra has opened the door. She's opened the can of worms, and now we're going to eat it all. So they're going to argue about that for a few minutes at the beginning. But it is important to show because it concerns a naked picture of Ezra in the prone position that she should send to John Hanson saying, I'd like to try something like this, but I'd like you to tie me up first. Oh, I'm so sexy. I'm so appealing.
You wish to address those issues before cross or before?
Yes, Your Honor, there are two matters. Whatever time the court wishes to do it.
Why don't we take it up now?
All right. Your Honor, we believe there's two things that the defendant, through her testimony, has opened the door to. The defendant testified that she had an argument with her mother and that she then, after that argument, moved out of the house, implying that it's her decision to move out of the house. In fact, and we had an earlier hearing on this, and the court had said that we couldn't bring in the fact that she was kicked out of her mother's house. But I think that she has created the implication through her testimony that it was her decision to move out. So I believe we're allowed to cross-examine her on the fact that she was kicked out of the
3 cents. The time here is 1:36. You were right the first time.
House at that point in time. And I don't know if the court wants me to address both points that I believe she's opened the door to, or if you want to argue each of them in turn.
Judge, I don't object to Mr. DeFore saying, were you kicked out of your mother's house? I didn't intend
Then that takes care of that.
I thought that was clear, but if he wants to ask that as one question and not go on and on about it,
That was a bit cheeky, wasn't it? The judge is supposed to rule. Defense counsel is in the middle of making a point, and he's like, okay, well, that takes care of that.
For saying, were you kicked out of your mother?
In turn.
Judge, I don't object to Mr. DeFore saying, were you kicked out of your mother's house? I didn't intend
Then that takes care of that.
I thought that was clear, but if he wants to ask that as one question and not go on and on about it, I don't object to it.
I don't intend to ask.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just going to ask that question.
All right.
Second point, Your Honor, is that the defendant, through her testimony, as it relates to her sexual experiences with Alex, made the statement that she absolutely does not like to be in the, in her words, prone position. Your Honor, I believe that opens the door to a specific text exchange that she had with John Hanson in February of 2018, in which she sends a picture to Mr. Hanson by text of herself in the prone position, and then follows it up with, I want to do something similar, but I'd like you to tie me up for it.
Judge, first of all, I think that the state misunderstood. When she said she didn't like being prone, she was asked about prone at two different points. Earlier in the testimony, she was asked about being prone as in lying face down and having sex with Mr. Woodworth behind her. I didn't ask her if she liked it or didn't like it at that point. At a later part in the testimony, I was asking her specifically about BDSM. And I said, you've said something about prone. Now, was there a different kind of prone? I can't say those are my exact words, but I asked her, and she specifically referred to the fact that prone in this context meant that Mr. Woodworth was choking her. And that's when I said, did she dislike it? And she was referring to that, not to lying down on her or being prone as opposed to face up or in the missionary position, as it's called. So those are two very different things, and it does not open the door whatsoever, nor would I call the photograph prone at all.
There's something so funny about sex being discussed in a formal setting where the last thing on anyone's mind is sex. At least that's how it's supposed to be. She's like, in the missionary position, you know, as it's called. I'm sure you've done it, Judge. I'm sure I've done it. But we're not talking about that.
that Mr. DeFore is referring to. I know what Mr. DeFore is referring to. I ask that not be shown to the cameras, but if
Or am I just being completely immature? I think it's funny when sex is discussed, or anything that's, even when they swear, like, and isn't it true, ma'am, that you called him a fuckhead?
if Mr. DeFore in his argument wants to tender it to the court, he should, because I don't know that the court has necessarily seen it. So I would say that this has not opened the door, and it's certainly, she talked about her sexual relationship with Alex. And things she didn't like regarding choking. And that really has nothing to do with the photograph that she sent to John Hanson.
Well, Your Honor, if it's in, that's not how she testified. She testified she didn't like to be in the prone position, period. That's what her testimony was. Secondly, if it's in regard to bondage situations, again, this was followed up with she wants to be tied up. I will show the court the picture. I hope it's not going to be viewed by any cameras.
Talking about the second one.
I'm sorry.
Talking about the second one.
Yes, Your Honor.
What about the first one?
I'm sorry.
What about the other picture?
Look, she's sitting right there while these two 60-year-old men are just looking at a naked picture of her that she sent to a love interest. How awkward would that be?
I wouldn't necessarily need to display that photo or publish that photo in any way, shape, or form.
So we're just talking about the one photo.
Right.
All
The
right,
other
well-
thing is that Ms. McCandle's is talking about a photo shoot, not about sex with Mr. Hanson in that particular conversational thread. She's showing him several pictures, what I would call selfies, that she had taken of herself. They were talking about doing a photo shoot at a later time and doing photographs. There was no discussion of Alex Woodworth tying her up and whether she liked it or not liked it. She said she didn't like the knife and the choking. That's what she talked about.
All right. Well,
Yeah, she didn't like the imaginary knife and the choking that never happened. You know, the worst that happened is that he put her neck in like the crook of his arm, you know, which is fine. That's normal. That's not bondage.
recollection was there was an area of questioning just prior to 11 a.m. today that went into BDSM and so forth, and whether there's had a safe word or not, and so on. And she took the role of submissive, and there was talk about the chokehold. Again, these are things that the court allowed in because defense.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you, man. Thanks so much for producing those wonderful tunes. I'm just over the moon, and so is everyone else. 3 cheers for Derek for producing those fantastic intros, outros, plug music. We've got everything now. We're ready. We're ready for the majors.
Defendant had said that these are things that made her fearful of the defendant and that she acted in the way that she acted. That was part of the constellation of thoughts that led to her actions. And she talked about how he demanded her to be in a vulnerable position. And a little bit later, then she said, her position in this position, it wasn't with my alignment. I think that was the words that she had used.
Yeah, it wasn't with my alignment, you know. And just a reminder, guys, this is the guy that she is going to, straying to, of her own free will, to cheat on her long-ish term live-in boyfriend while he's away on military duty. Okay? It's not like she's trapped in a marriage and they live in the same house, and he says things like, if you leave me, you can leave with the clothes on your back and you'll be penniless. Now get into position. Be vulnerable. Love and do as you will. You know, there's nothing like that. She's totally going there by choice. So this whole notion of him demanding her and forcing her, well, just stop going around there if you don't like it. You're not supposed to be going around there to have sex anyway. You've got a boyfriend that you have told that you're in a committed relationship. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for polyamory, monogamy, whatever it is, whoever it is, you know, I mean, but the only thing that I have a problem with is when you say one thing and do another. You know, that's just deceitful and it's not nice. And look what happened to Jason McCandle. He lost his mind and now can't even explain the rules of Dungeons and Dragons properly. You know, he just goes round and round. Before this case, he could probably tell you every rule, recite the rules, any point in the game, Dungeons and Dragons. Go to Jason. He will give you a full description. Now he's just like, what is it? Let's have a look at what he said again. You roll the dice. It's kind of like a game of chance, but like you get to, I'm sorry, I'm saying like a lot. It's improv with your friends. So it's, you create a character, you go to a place, and someone runs the whole session. And the rest of the players, you know, create like whatever, a bard or a cleric or something. And like the whole idea is to get you involved. Josh ran the campaigns, you know. He would create these environments for you, your personality, your character to like go through. There's nothing digital about it. It's just a board. Not even really a board. It's just like they'll do like a map. So you can draw out where we're doing things or what's going on. And sometimes tokens. It's mostly just a chance to play make-believe with your friends again. So it's kind of fun. We do it on Monday nights. This was his answer that I wrote down for the question, could you explain how the rules of Dungeons and Dragons? And that's what he came out with. It's amazing. It's art. It's poetry.
So frankly, on that issue, in the court's opinion, given that the reason that it was allowed in, that it is fair for on cross-examination for the state to go into that, because it is inconsistent with it. Again, you can argue it, but I'm going to allow the state to go into that. Just the one picture, not anything else on there at this point.
Judge, I have some further things.
And
Number one, I would argue that that picture not be shown to the jury.
No, Your Honor, it's got to be shown to the jury.
Nothing
I don't have
has
a
to.
problem with not publishing it in the sense that it's going to be put up on the screen and displayed for everybody, but I would ask to be
Put it on the screen. We want to see. We saw Jodi Arias. We saw all of her.
able to publish it to the jury privately. They can pass it around and publish it that way. I'm also, are we also able to get in then the text where she says, I want you to do something similar, but I'd like you to tie me up for it?
Well,
Okay.
That is more important than the picture, frankly.
Okay.
So that in the picture can be published privately to the jury, but we're not going to put it up on the screen.
I haven't completed my argument about why the picture shouldn't be published.
Okay, go
This
ahead.
is 9060802 evidence. In other words, the state wants to cross-examine her because of this, because they're claiming that this goes to her truthfulness, that this prior occasion where she texted something to John Hanson shows that she's an untruthful person. And under 90608 sub 2, they cannot bring in extrinsic evidence. They can show her the picture and ask her questions about the picture, but to publish the picture is to bring in extrinsic evidence, and to talk about being tied up is extrinsic evidence of a collateral matter, and it's not permitted under the statute.
Well, I
court-
don't see it as extrinsic evidence in that sense, because it would be, and the state will be bound by the answer. In other words, you can't bring John Hanson back and all of that.
Isn't this in effect bringing John Hanson back by showing she sent a
Well,
photo shoot of herself?
Frankly, he was never here, but
That's true.
I think that, to that extent, they can cross-examine on it, and they'll be able to cross-examine on all sorts of things. So, but you made your record, council. We're going to take, I'd like everybody back in here ready to go by 2:35. So you have 10 minutes to take care of restroom breaks. All right, we'll be in recess.
Excuse me, Mr. I did object, and I'm not withdrawing my objection to the photograph and the conversation, but the date of that conversation has no relevancy whatsoever. That it has a date of February 10th of 2018. The fact that it occurred on the 10th has no relevancy to the actual picture being shown. If they want to say February of 2018, or cross out the number on the date, that's fine. But to show a date is to particularly show that this has occurred after the sex that she had with John Hanson. And there's no real reason to show it in a timeline of whether or not she sent this photograph and the photo shoot to John Hanson, or expressed that she wanted to have a photo shoot with him at a later date. There's no reason to have the exact date on that. And that could be very prejudicial in terms of the whole incident and other issues the court's not going to allow. So I'd ask that the date be redacted, or at least the 10th be redacted.
Well, Your Honor, we believe the date is certainly relevant because this is during the time period where she claimed that this was a type of activity she didn't want to engage in, because counsel made it clear that she was asking about if she didn't want to do those types of things during the time period of January, February of 2018. So the date is actually very relevant to it. And I think, nobody's arguing that she made a false claim of sexual assault. The court has specifically ordered that we can't, and we're not making that claim. So it's not prejudicial because it's not in some way showing that when she reported this, that it was somehow false. So I don't see how it's prejudicial to have the date, and it certainly has relevance.
Well, the defense objection is duly noted, preserved for the record. However, the court is going to allow state to use it with the date on it. And, okay, so let's bring the jury in.
All right. Ms. McCandle's, you had gotten a new driver's license in around June of 2017. Is that correct?
Yes.
Neverly, I'll send you the plug queue now on WhatsApp. Let's wait to go public with that.
And on that driver's license, you listed your height as being 5'6".
I did.
And you put on there that your weight was about 130 pounds, correct?
Yes.
And you were weighed when you got into the hospital, correct?
I don't remember. No.
You may. And I'll just note that there's sort of an objection. There is an objection, and we'll make a record later. But I don't think the word objection was actually made. But I'll note it as an objection on the sidebar. Objection overruled.
I'm showing you what has been marked for identification as Exhibit 699. This is your Instagram homepage, correct?
Yes.
All right, and it contains on it a phrase that's...
Yeah, I just sent it, Neverly. I was going to send it to you earlier, but I've just been busy, and I thought I would have it ready to go on tonight's show, so it didn't seem that important. But it's not ready. But there you go. Enjoy. It's fucking brilliant. Thanks so much again, Derek. It's going to be great to put so many voiceovers on that. It's really fantastic. All you viewers out there, you're in for such a treat with the plug music. We're going to have the best plug.
It says, "I am the fox," a tricky one, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move the admission of Exhibit 699 as published to the jury.
All right, and subject to the objection, Exhibit 699 will be received. It is 6.
Now, so we are clear, you met.
She looks a little nervous, doesn't she? Where's my nice attorney, the one that treated me like a really good person? This guy's being mean. Maybe he's just, he's not accepting of my lifestyle.
Jason Mengel during the summer of 2017, correct?
Yes.
And very shortly after that, you became seriously romantically involved
Hello, Amanda. Good to see you again.
with Mr. Mengel, correct?
Yes, we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
I'm sorry?
Yes, we became boyfriend and girlfriend.
And in fact,
This prosecutor's great. He just doesn't, even if she tries to embellish with something, he's just like, I'm sorry, what? What are you saying, little girl? Trying to get your point in? I'm running things now.
shortly after that, you moved in with Jason Mengel, correct?
Yes, that had happened.
And you had met Alex Woodworth around that same time period?
Yes.
And in the future, I'm just going to refer to him as Alex. I know there are two Alexes here, unless I specifically say Alex Zink. Whenever I'm talking about Alex, I'll be talking about Alex Woodworth, okay?
Okay.
You became friends with Alex, right?
Yes.
Would talk with him frequently?
Yes.
Would go for walks with Alex?
Yes.
And around that same time period, you also met John Hanson, correct?
Yes. Through
And
Jason.
became friends with John Hanson as well, correct?
Yes.
Now,
Thanks so much for the coffee, Amanda, as well. I just saw that come in on your message.
you moved in with Jason, what, sometime during August of 2017?
Roughly end of summer. Yes.
And when you moved in with Jason, the expectation was that you were going to be paying part of the rent, correct?
It was mentioned a few times. It wasn't really an expectation, just kind of like a get me back when you can.
And for a time, you were paying part of the rent, correct?
Can you please restate that? I didn't hear you clearly.
Sure. For a time, you were paying part of the rent, correct?
No, I was helping with groceries.
So you never
Helping with groceries. What does that mean? I bought a piece of celery once. Just a single stalk of celery that I took out of someone's Bloody Mary at races. And I brought it home covered in tomato juice and vodka. And I put it in the fridge and I helped with groceries.
never paid any of the rent.
No.
You worked for a short time at Joanne Fabrics
Yes, seasonal.
and
Seasonal? How the fuck is Joanne Fabrics seasonal work? Seasonal work is like a ski resort or a jet ski hire company or a camping ground. You know, seasonal work at Joanne Fabrics. You go and get the rolls of fabric and you bring it down and you cut it into yards. I mean, at least that's what I understand the shop is, like a haberdashery. How is that seasonal? Yes, you only need to buy fabric in July and August.
after you lost that job or
Hello, Veronica Sawyer. So good to see you again, my dear.
after you were no longer working there, you weren't paying anything anymore, correct?
Hey, do you? I didn't lose the job.
Yep.
No.
I'll rephrase. After you were no longer working
I didn't lose the job. I just stopped going in. I said, this isn't for me.
at Joanne Fabric, you were not paying anything towards your support at Jason Mengel's apartment, correct?
I was doing.
And you just know that the whole Ezra McCandle's not having a job thing is because she can't bear to face that she's like everyone else, right? She's an exceptional human being, right? She's above all that. She's like, I'm an artist. I do art. I do a lot of coloring in and I do art. Okay. I have a painting of a cosmic goat. Okay. That's what I do. I don't wear a uniform and a name badge and go in and pretend to like my boss. I go to races and then I go and Well, what else does she do? She goes to races. She sleeps with many people. Apart from that, there's these talk of these long walks, that's just her seduction style. What else does she do? This is why she's so promiscuous, is because she really just doesn't have anything else to offer.
Side jobs with my dad and things like that. So I would chip in with
Ma'am,
groceries.
question is,
Okay.
were you paying something or not? Period.
She was answering the question. Could she be permitted to please finish her answer?
No, she's not. I'll ask that whatever she said be stricken because it was unresponsive to my question.
Okay, well, I'm going to sustain the, well, I'm not sure what I'm sustaining here. You may continue, Mr. Dufour, and I'm not going to allow her to elaborate. It's not responsive to the questioner's question.
My question is, after you were no longer working at Joanne Fabrics, you weren't paying anything towards your stay at Jason Mengel's apartment, correct?
I was still helping with groceries and odd things.
Yeah, I bought a pumpkin at Halloween and made a mess in the kitchen and didn't clean it up. But a pumpkin is a grocery, and I did help with groceries when I bought my pumpkin.
Sometime in late September or early October, you found out you were pregnant
Yes.
and you asked Jason to pay for that abortion, correct?
I didn't ask him. We both kind of agreed on it.
You never asked Jason if he was okay with.
I didn't ask Jason to pay for an abortion. I just told him that I need an abortion and don't have any money, and he's the father. And then, it was his idea after that.
If you were getting an abortion, did you?
It was a time when we didn't have much conversation.
So you never asked Jason if he was okay with you having the abortion, did you?
I did ask him, yes.
Check this out. Buy Metrix, a pumpkin spice latte from Races. Wow, is that a thing? Amazing. I guess I'm a sheltered kind of guy, really. I just drink black coffee in a tiny little cup. A pumpkin spice. I think we need to throw some cinnamon in there, Mary. Or nutmeg. Just a sprinkle. Just a sprinkle. Do. Is that an option? I think there should be an option on buymeacoffee.com where you can select what type of coffee. I'll have a double tall, super skinny, cappuccino, frappa, chappa, like these names, they get so long.
And you, by the way, when you went to the appointment where you confirmed you were pregnant,
Yes.
you asked immediately.
Hey, Anne, how you doing? It must be nice. Being married to such a talented guy. Wow. We've got such a great jingle, Anne. I'm sure you've heard it enough already. But it's so fantastic.
Immediately for information on an abortion?
No.
You asked at that same visit for information on an abortion, didn't you?
Yes.
And after you had the abortion, you began to get closer with Alex, correct?
That is correct.
And began to have a sexual relationship with Alex, correct?
Yes.
And while you started that sexual relationship with Alex, you were still living in Jason's apartment, correct?
Yes.
Still occasionally having sexual contact with Jason?
No.
There was absolutely no sexual contact between you and Jason between the time you started seeing Alex and the time that you stopped having sex with Alex?
The sexual contact wasn't intimate. Do you want me to elaborate on what I mean?
No, I'm not asking you to elaborate. I'm asking you, are you telling me that you had no sexual contact between?
I'm going to object. Can we please approach the bench?
Objection overruled, and Mr. Dufour, you may go ahead. I don't know if you remember.
I think she just wanted to smell his cologne, Mr. Dufour. The attorneys, they've got this heat, right? You know, I feel like they're going to take a business trip to Green Bay. You know, go to a fully booked hotel, have to share a room. They think it's a double, but there's only one bed. Mr. DeFore offers to sleep on the couch, and Miss Fishney says, "No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine."
The question.
I'll repeat the question, ma'am. My question is it your testimony then that between the time you started having a sexual relationship with Alex and the time that you ended that there was absolutely no sexual contact between yourself and Jason Mangle?
No,
Okay, so in fact there was.
I love the prosecutor, and he's just got this fantastic tone, especially with this witness. He just doesn't take any prisoners. He doesn't take any shit.
Sexual contact between yourself and Jason Mangle during the time that you were having the sexual relationship with Alex, correct?
later in the relationship, yes.
Can I approach your honor?
You may.
How do you judge a good cologne, Amy? Last time I had any, it was Hugo Boss. It was damn good.
Mr. McCandle's, I'm showing what has been marked for identification as exhibit number 700. Can you tell me, does that appear to be a document containing a series of text messages between yourself and Alex Woodworth?
Yes.
All right. And
The lady prosecutor, there's 3 prosecutors in Everly. The lady's called Miss Nodolf. This guy is Mr. DeFore, I think.
you had deleted all of those text messages from your iPod, correct?
I had deleted the app, yes.
And that deleted all of those text messages, correct?
Yes, that would do that.
And you agree, why don't you, you talked in your direct about flaws. Can you turn to the second last page on that exhibit?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to ask you to the 6th text down is a text that came from Alex Woodworth that talks about flaws, correct?
Yes.
And you texted him back that flaws can be pretty interesting, but hard to show, correct?
I think I might be mistaken on my page. Yes.
That was on October 29th of 2017, correct? Your Honor, I move the admission of exhibit 700 at this point.
All right, any objection?
Judge,
And need your microphone.
yes, I'm sorry. Judge, I don't object to the admission of what's been testified to. I don't,
Okay, so if there's more, we'll address those one at a time, but exhibit
Yes.
700 will be received as the text messages.
Can I approach again, Your Honor?
You may.
okay, wait, I'm sorry. Are you on a different exhibit?
Yes, this is exhibit 701. It's the one I just gave
Are
you.
we moved on from this?
I'm done with that one for
Okay.
now. Thank you.
Yes.
Showing you what has been marked for identification as exhibit 701. That is an additional exhibit that contains additional text messages between yourself and Alex Woodworth, correct?
Yes.
Actually, I'll read you that.
Thank you.
specifically, you turn to the third page of that exhibit.
Yes.
All right. Referring on the third page, do you see a text that starts, "People would be jealous"?
Yes.
All right. And that text, in fact, is one from Alex to you, correct?
Yes.
All right. And on that one, it states, "People would be jealous, but wouldn't even know how much better your booty looks without any clothes," correct?
Yes.
Your response to that is, "OMG, I'm blushing," correct? I'm
Yes.
blushing, correct? And OMG is short for "Oh my God."
Yes.
All right. And then you further respond, quote, "Nobody knows how nice your cock is," correct?
Yes.
And Alex,
See what I mean? When these sentences are read out in this kind of forum, in this kind of formal setting, it's just, "Nobody knows how nice your cock is," correct? It just makes me laugh like a 12-year-old boy every time.
responds to you, "Oh, but you do. I love how much you love my cock inside of you," correct?
Yes.
And you respond, "I do. Let's be honest," correct?
Yes.
And the date on those text exchanges was January 25th of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I'd move, again, for purposes of the texts that have been discussed at this point, I'd move the admission of Exhibit 701.
And Neverly, the prosecutor's pretty clear about his personal opinion of Ezra in his closing argument, which he runs, and Miss Nodolf does the rebuttal, I think.
All right, Ms. Fishney?
I don't object to the line.
And she also has a really strong personal opinion, you know.
Read this far.
All right, so that portion of
The
it,
exhibit being admitted.
okay, that portion of Exhibit 701 will be received.
And again, that second set of messages that we talked about in Exhibit 701 were also deleted from your iPod, correct?
Yes, I had deleted the app, so in return that deleted everything. Yes.
Now, you testified on direct that you did not like it when Alex had you in the prone position. Do you recall that?
Yes.
May I approach?
You may.
Mr. McCandle's, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification as exhibit number 702. That is a photo of yourself that you texted to John Hanson, correct?
Yes.
All right. And on the second page of this is a text where you state, I want to do something similar, but I'd like you to tie me up for it, correct?
Yes.
And that's referring back to the photo that's on the first page of that exhibit, correct?
Yes, for my photo shoot.
Your Honor, I move the admission of exhibit 702.
Yeah, it was a photo shoot, guys. Definitely just a photo shoot. You see, the lawyer raised this point saying, hey, she didn't say anything about having sex. She said, I'd like to try something like this, but I'd like you to tie me up first. And that was referring to a photo shoot. And now Ezra's running with that ball, trying to get it across the line, going, yeah, for my photo shoot, right? This wasn't a sex talk thing. No. This was a photo shoot thing. It was a professional, back and forth between me and my photographer.
Asked to publish it to the jury. I have copies for the jury.
All right, Exhibit 702 will be received, again, subject to the previous ruling, and objection preserved, can be published to the jury, but not published on the media.
Thank you, Judge. I'm also going to ask that that exhibit be sealed after the jury sees it.
We'll take that up at a later time.
Thank you.
I don't know that I can.
Ma'am, you also testified, I believe, on direct about something you called wax play. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. You never mentioned to Detective Prock when you talked to him that there was wax play or anything to do with candles, did you?
What interview are you speaking of?
Well, let's start with the interview on March 22nd or 23rd of 2018. You never mentioned in that interview to Detective Prock anything about wax play, did you?
No.
And in the interview on March 24th, the second interview you had with Detective Prock, you never told him anything about wax play in that interview, did you?
No.
And you also testified on direct that on one occasion that you could recall, Alex had cut your pants with a knife. Do you recall that?
Yes.
You never mentioned that to Detective Prock in your interview with him, did you?
No.
Yeah, I hadn't come up with that yet. I needed to see the evidence against me before I formulated a story to work around it. Yeah, so that's why I didn't tell anything about it to Detective Prock. What kind of a name is Prock, anyway?
In fact, in your interview on March 24th,
Yeah, I'm going to object to that being a misstatement of the testimony. She says she recalls the interviews, but they seem like they were jumbled together.
I'm going to point her up to a specific page and
Oh, that's fine.
of the interview. So
Sure.
you recall that interview, correct?
Bits and pieces, yes.
All right. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
In that interview, you were being asked about possibly being sexually assaulted. And on page 1636, isn't it true that you said, but I think I might have because of where the cuts are and stuff, because I don't know why somebody would cut my pants or anything, correct?
Yes.
That was your answer, correct?
Yes.
But you never told Detective Prock that the defendant had previously cut your clothes while you were that Alex had previously cut your clothes while you were with him, correct?
Correct.
You never told Detective Prock that Alex had actually strangled you previously, did you?
No.
In fact, all you said was that he put his arm by your neck at one point in time and that made you uncomfortable, correct?
Yes.
The relationship with Alex that you had continued until February 24th of 2018?
Around then, yes.
All right. And that's the date you sent a text to Alex and told him.
Yeah, we've got to climb up on those likes, guys. We're doing quite well tonight, but we're not doing that well. We've got more people in the stream than usual. You know, this case is 6 years old, so a lot of people go, "Hey, True Crime Metrix, we love what you do, but why aren't you covering the Edelson case?" Well, you know, let's just put the Edelson case down for a moment, okay? It's been too much drama. And, you know, we'll be starting Sarah Boone on Monday, huh? Jury selection for Sarah Boone. But for the meantime, we're doing Ezra McCandle's. And we've got to get those likes rolling in, guys. We've got 61 people in the stream, but only 30-something likes. So let's double it right now.
That you were no longer wanting to be involved with him, correct?
Yes.
All right. You told him that he never knew you, correct?
I don't exactly remember the text. No.
Absolutely, Vivian P. She directed Alex in the sex games. Definitely. You know, she led this the whole way. It's all like, oh, I was encouraging him to express himself. Listen, the guy was just happy that someone was willing to have sex with him. It was all over that already. There was bags of expression that he was willing to just tip out on the floor all over your naked body. He didn't need any direction or permission. Well, you know, permission's the wrong word to use there, but you know, encouragement. So let's put it that way. He was up for it. You know, she's got, oh, I was led by these men that wanted to choke me. She was so into this.
told him that he should forget you, correct?
I could have said that, yes.
And you told him that you never knew him, correct?
Yet again, I could have said that, yes. I don't exactly remember the text message.
And you knew that those messages would be very hurtful to Alex, didn't you?
Yes.
And after the text of February 24th of 2018, Alex never initiated another contact with you, did he?
We passed each other at the coffee shop, but it was very brief interactions and we had stopped texting.
He never initiated a contact with you, did he?
No.
And sometime in February, you began this flirtation with John Hanson? Or was it earlier than that?
Yes.
It was earlier than Jan?
No, it was in that time range.
Okay. And you eventually had 2 sexual encounters with Mr. Hanson?
Yes, I had.
Okay. And the one was in John Hanson's apartment, correct?
Yes.
And the second one was in the apartment that you shared with Jason Bengal, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, that one was on Jason's bed, correct?
Yes, it was on our bed.
All right. And hanging above that bed was the picture that you gave to Max Martinson on March 22nd of 2018, correct?
Yes.
So you did not paint that picture for Max Martinson, correct?
No, not specifically.
Exhibit 176, please. Thank you. And approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Page 4.
Is that an admitted exhibit? Is that already in?
What's that?
Okay.
It's the interview of March 23rd.
Okay, thank you.
All right. On page 4 of here, you said to Detective Prock on March 23rd, so I went and made sure all the stuff was in the trunk and the painting because I painted something for Max, a friend, correct?
Yes, I had said that.
And the painting you were referring to is in fact the one that had been above.
Welcome, Leslie. Yeah, how good is the intro, huh? And we're going to have even better graphics real soon, probably over the weekend. I'm going to be learning this, how to do that. But the music is fantastic. And again, thanks so many times to Derek for making that tune for us. It's brilliant and we love it and we love you.
Above the bed in the apartment you shared with Jason Mengel, correct?
Yes.
Because that's the painting you gave to Max Martinson on March 22nd, 2018, correct?
Correct.
A painting that reminded you of the sexual encounter you had with John Hanson, correct?
It didn't remind me of it, but it was there when it did happen.
And it reminded Jason of that sexual encounter, correct?
It reminded him, yes.
Okay. So it's something that was standing in the way of your continued relationship with Jason, correct?
No, I still loved my painting.
Yeah, but did Jason, I mean, he's the one that took it down because he didn't want it hanging above his bed, because that's what it was hanging up there when you slept with John Hanson in his bed, in Jason's own bed. That's just automatically not nice. Okay, it's bad enough in a car or in the other guy's house, but in Jason's own bed, come on. Of course he didn't want that painting hanging up there anymore. But you still loved your painting. But that wasn't the question. The question was it a barrier between you and Jason continuing your relationship? And the answer to that question is yes.
During the period from October of 2017 to the time that you moved out in early February of 2018, Jason Mengel was still paying all the rent for that apartment, or at least his portion of the rent for that apartment.
Meanwhile, Jason's still paying all the rent while you're fucking his friend in his bed under your stupid painting of a cosmic goat.
Yes.
In fact, he was paying 2/3 of the rent, and Alex Zink was paying 1/3, correct?
I don't know exactly what their deal was.
Jason was paying for the vast majority of the food that you would consume in the apartment?
No.
Jane's World, we can have a little look at her artwork. I don't know if we've got the cosmic goat painting, but we can head over to Instagram right now and check out the her Instagram handle. She's now selling all her art. I mean, we've shown this on the program before, Jane. I assume that's your name. Jane's World. Dirt Fiend. So this is Ezra's artwork. She's written on a wall, Lizard King, okay. I mean, I guess she's a little limited on art supplies in jail. So see some of her earlier stuff. Could that be a cosmic goat? Man, I wouldn't want to have sex under that. I'd feel like he was looking at me. Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit cartoonish. I mean, I guess that's pretty good. A line drawing of a bear. I mean, I probably couldn't draw something that looked like that. Look at this freak. Oh yeah, look, there's all Alex's chains that he would chain me to the bed. Here she is in her boy period. Now I'm a boy. And this goes back to, when is this? This is 358 weeks ago. So this is before she went away. This is like her life before she went away. Maybe this is, look, there's a bike. That could be Jason's house. This could be the room. That could be the very, very room where she slept with John Hanson in Jason's bed under the painting of a cosmic goat. Well, that's her artwork anyway. I don't know what the painting is that she's talking about, if that's ever been shown. I've never seen it.
He was paying for the utilities for the apartment?
That was split between them, yes.
And this allowed you weren't working at that from the time you left Joanne Fabrics, except for an odd job here and there?
Yes.
It allowed you to work on your art?
Yes.
It allowed you to spend a lot of time at races with friends?
Yes.
And then you moved out in early February of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Right. And
Jody Jr. That's a good name for Ezra, isn't it? Jody Jr. Very similar, you know. But Jody was far more accomplished than this idiot. Jody actually had some wit and some balls. This girl has neither of those things.
you sent a text message to Jason Mengel to basically break up with him, correct?
Correct.
You stayed some of the time with Alex Woodworth?
I didn't stay at his house, like live in, no.
Jane, the Instagram page is dirt, DIRT _fiend, FIEND.
You didn't stay any times overnight at his house?
And before that, yes, I stayed overnight at his
Okay.
house. I wasn't living there though, no.
So you didn't stay overnight at Alex's after you broke up with Jason Mengel? Is that what your testimony is?
Maybe a night, but yes.
So you did stay over?
Yes, I had it confused as if you were saying if I had been living there.
And then you moved back to Stanley, Wisconsin?
Yes,
And you were first staying with your mother,
yes.
right? And then you got into this fight, correct?
Yes, we had an argument, yes.
And your mom kicked you out of the house, correct?
Yes, she kind of gave me an ultimatum, either leave Jason or you have to get out. So
She kicked you out of the house, correct?
I guess you could say that.
And then you moved in with your dad.
Yes,
At that point in time, though, it'd be fair to say you would
I believe the song is called Lost on You, Jane.
prefer to be in the Eau Claire area, correct?
yes,
Wanted to still be with Jason at that point in time, correct?
yes. I was exploring the idea of continuing our relationship.
You wanted to still be with Jason, correct?
Yes,
I was exploring the idea of continuing our relationship. Well, how mature? How mature does that sound? Yes, I decided to sit down one Saturday afternoon and explore the idea of continuing our relationship, possibly-ish.
And spent a night or two with Jason in a hotel room, correct?
correct.
Despite
That he paid for.
all the things that had happened, you still love Jason, correct?
Are you saying now?
No, at that time, in
Yes.
February and March of 2018.
Of course, of course.
And you referred to it, I believe, in your journal, Silence Broken, as being an ancient love, correct?
Correct.
And you were continuing to try to repair that relationship, correct?
Yes, we were working on things.
I have exhibit 4.
You may.
Ms. McCandle's, I'm going to show you what has been previously marked and admitted as exhibit 420, which was identified as a communication timeline. And you were present when Ms. Wright testified how this was created. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. And this is essentially a listing of all your Instagram messages between yourself and various individuals.
Yes, that's her mum right there. And that's her dad, her adoptive dad, who adopted her when she was about 4. So it's her real dad. She's never met her birth dad.
During the relevant time period. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. I'm starting on what is marked as DOJ 005088. Does that start?
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of lawyers with ill-fitted suits recently, C. Malone. I mean, too many to count, really.
Start with a communication between yourself and Jason Mengel on March 11th of 2018?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to leave that with you,
Okay.
and I'm going to pull it up here a second, and I'm going to go through some of this, and I want you to tell me if I'm reading them accurately, okay?
Okay.
All right. So here I am. The top of page 5088 that you see there
Yes.
is an Instagram to you from Jason Mengel, correct?
Correct.
And it's talking about basically a sexual encounter that the two of you had, correct?
Correct.
All right. And he states, it was nice going slow until you told me faster, and your warmth and your smell, it all sticks with me, correct?
Correct.
And then he continues on kissing and kissing, feeling like I could cry and smile at the same time, scared of how on fire it felt to kiss you, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now let's skip down a little bit. Turn to what would be 5090.
Yes.
And towards the bottom, the third from the top, or third from the bottom, I should say, is a message from Jason McCandle to you, stating that I was always so aroused by you.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
And then comes on the next one again from Jason is part of the reason, like I said, I slept on the couch to prevent myself from the urge and possibly doing something, correct?
Correct.
Right. And then you reply, you know that if we sat down and had a conversation about the urges and what would happen if we both decided to go with them, I would have told you a lot about what was on my mind, correct?
Just listen to that message she's sending there, right? It's just throwing out the bait, the excuse my language, the pussy bait, right? It's like there's no listening to what he's saying and responding. It's just, well, if we'd have talked about the urges, I would have told you a lot about what's on my mind and what I want to experiment with. And you've missed out. It's awful what she does. It's just classless and shitty, manipulative. And all she's really doing is exposing how little she has to offer,
And from Jason is part of the reason, like I said, I slept on the couch to prevent myself from the urge and possibly doing something, correct?
He's saying he slept on the couch to prevent himself from the urge of possibly doing something. To Ezra's mind, he was freaked out about the abortion and stuff. But he says in his police interview, which we may cover, we may go back for some Jason McCandle in his police interview because it is quite funny. It's about as funny as it is long. Maybe we could do a best bits. But he says in that interview he was sleeping on the couch because he wanted to resist any urges to sleep with Ezra because he didn't want to get Hep C or herpes or any of these things, right? That's what was in his mind.
Correct.
Right. And then you reply, you know that if we sat down and had a conversation about the urges and what would happen if we both.
And there was talk about a hooker being in town, and I gather that there's maybe not that many hookers in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, because everyone was talking about it. Like, hey, have you seen the hooker? And she was drugged out, strung out, cheap, and all of these boys from races were like, going taking turns on the hooker. So the hooker's sleeping with everybody. Ezra's sleeping with everybody, and then coming home to Jason full of Hep C and herpes and crabs and all the rest of it. Nice, right? Nice.
Decided to go with them, I would have told you a lot about what was on my mind, correct?
Correct.
Right. And then going to the next.
Hey, thanks so much for the super sticker, Madeleine. Next
page, you continue. I would have opened up about the ideas I wanted to explore.
I would have opened up about the ideas that I wanted to explore. There's no room for interpretation there. She's talking sex.
Correct?
Correct.
And if you move to page 5093. It'd be the
Did you say 5093?
5093, 5093. Be the fifth one down is a message from Jason indicating I would have been proud to be your husband, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, I know, correct?
Correct.
And then he responds, and raise your kiddos, correct?
Correct.
And then you respond, you know your children will be raised so well, correct?
Correct.
And
Your children would be raised so well. Yeah. Lot of coloring in. Lot of coloring in. You know, whole library of coloring in books.
continue on, and that's a fact, correct?
Correct.
And then continue on, I'm weirdly good at mothering, correct?
Yeah, I'm especially good at mothering when it's an additional excuse that I can use to not work and have everything paid for me and a place to live and celery in the fridge and the little yogurts with the fruit corner that I love. I need those stocked.
Correct.
But, you know, it's for the kids. She did the same thing with John Hanson. As soon as she got a chance to spend time with his son, his young son, she was like, playing the mother, cooking with the kid. And I think she was just on the cusp of saying, listen, you know, you've got this house, haven't you? You've got this house, and I'm looking for somewhere to live. I don't have a job at the moment, so it's kind of hard for me to come up with a holding deposit and all those forms, you know, and the renter's agreement and everything like that. It's just not possible. So I could live here and, you know, I could help with your kid. And as I'm looking after your kid, you could pay for my entire life, my muffins and my coffees and celery in the fridge.
If you go to 5094,
It's like she's a hooker and her own pimp at the same time. You know what I mean? She is her own product.
the very last text on that page.
Hey, we almost missed plug time. This could be our very last True Crime Metrics live plug, because it could be tomorrow that we're already set for using our fabulous new show tune from Derek, who made us a fantastic plug music. We're going to make a little video and just press play on the video so I don't have to read. Well, I'm not reading, speak it out every time, because I'm sure that gets annoying. But I think you're all going to miss it once it's gone. So for now, please do leave a like on the video, subscribe, share, leave a comment. And if anyone would like to support the channel, just a reminder this month, folks, that the best place to do that in October, this month, 1 month only, is buymeacoffee.com, because it's much quicker to get those coffees to us. You know, the YouTube donations are fantastic for those who are able and willing to support the channel. But this month, you know, because YouTube takes ages to actually get the coffees to you. But if you do want to support the channel, head over to buymeacoffee.com right over here, and you just go there and you add some coffees and you add your name and and it's fantastic. And you know what? We also have memberships on Buy Me a Coffee now, guys. Fantastic memberships with benefits. Fantastic benefits. We've got Addicted, Obsessed, and Possessed, plus Life Without Parole, a lifetime access to the True Crime Metrix benefits. Fantastic benefits, guys. What else have we got? We've got a merch store now. Beautiful merch. Look at this merch. We've got so much merch. We've got logos. We've got Judge Everett merch. We've got fantastic Judge Everett merch in colors and sizes and everything. I mean, does it get any better than that? Slept like a baby. What else have we got? We've got Don't Be an Adelson, our #1 seller. Don't Be an Adelson t-shirts, mugs, stickers. Fantastic gear. Look at this gear. It's so great. It is so great. Also Patreon, fantastic Patreon, where that is you get the most benefits on Patreon and merch discounts with Patreon membership. But any membership is good, or YouTube memberships. And If people are really stuck on YouTube but do want to support the channel, there's super likes, super thanks, super stickers, super YouTubes, and also social networks. Link in the description, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Shameless plug over, and you may never have to hear it again. Roll tape, please.
Page, you state, or Instagram message, I should say.
Please.
All right, you may proceed.
That text on the bottom, I'm not going to read the exact quote, but essentially you indicate that you would be portraying the pregnancy you had if you ever tried to have children with anyone else, correct?
You said portraying. Did you mean betraying?
Betraying, yes.
Yes.
And you continue on with the next page, top of it. It's a deep feeling, and that's just it, correct?
Correct.
And then you say, another one from you, can't shake it and feel dumb and silly about it, correct?
Correct.
And then you say, hurts to know I'll never be able to have a child, but I just know what would feel.
Yeah, we have an ancient love from a past life. And in our past life, love, I cheated on you there as well. You know, all this bullshit she comes out with. Yes, this is an ancient love. We are old souls. Even though I'm young, we consider ourselves to be very old souls. It's just an excuse for her so that she can do whatever she wants and say, well, listen, we have an ancient love. It's too good for you to break up over. So just keep paying the rent, Jason. And I've decided that I would like a different cereal this week. So if we could go with the Cocoa Puffs, that would be great.
Feel right to me, and that's all, correct?
Correct.
And continue on. I feel so strongly when I feel, and it scares me a lot of the time, correct?
Correct.
And continue on. I'm passionate in love, and I'm hate, and then correct? And I assume
Correct.
hate was not what you meant there, right?
You know, the funny thing is, if I looked back to when I was her age, I probably said some things and thought some things that would make me want to throw up now. But the thing is that I had time to develop as a person, you know, and grow. But Ezra went straight in to do 50 years minimum life in prison sentence. So she, in some ways, is locked in this pathetic, embarrassing conceptual existence for all eternity. That just adds to spending life in prison, doesn't it? No one ever got to see you grow out of this bullshit phase.
Yes.
All right. And you corrected in the next one to in, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then next one is I don't know, correct?
Correct.
And then Jason replies, me either as, correct?
Correct.
And you state, you state next, I'm sorry, correct?
Correct.
And Jason then replies, I don't want kids with anyone but you, correct?
Correct.
And you state, that's how I feel also, correct?
Correct.
It just feels wrong, correct?
Correct.
Mr. DeFore.
I'm not going to ask the next,
Okay.
going to go on. And on the next page, which would be 5096, the second text down, or second Instagram message down is, it's not because how cute and the wonderful genetics we pass on, it's and then you continue more emotional and ancient, correct?
Correct.
Hey, Derek, is this image and likeness laws, is that in reference to the merch? You know, I tried to upload a merch image of the Harley Davidson logo, but I changed Harley Davidson to Harvey Adelson, right? But I kept uploading it and they just took it down. I assume because of the Harley Davidson copyright, right? But they don't take down merch with Judge Everett's face or Wendy Adelson's face or Dan Rashbaum's finger. So I think I'm operating within the correct guidelines of what is acceptable, but I wouldn't give a fuck if I wasn't. You're right. Hey, Vivian, thanks so much for the super sticker. You are a honey.
All right, I think that's it for that particular exhibit. Thank you. I'll take that back for now. Actually, no, why don't you keep that? So keep that for now. That was on March 11th, correct? Those Instagram messages we were just
Yes.
talking about? All right. Now, a short time later, on or about March 19th, you got a call from Jason, correct?
Correct.
All right. And in that phone call, he told you that Jenna Van de Zand had given him some additional details about your relationship with Alex Woodworth, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, he told.
I love this, Leslie. There's so many comments coming in about people's hair in the gallery in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It should be called O'Hare Claire. O'Hare Claire, Wisconsin. I mean, what is going on there? Do they have a salon or a barbershop anywhere in town?
Told you that Jenna had told him about an incident where you were in the shower with Alex, correct? Not introducing it.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Yes.
All right, and you came out of the bathroom in a towel, correct?
Okay, now I'm gonna approach it.
Okay.
I don't object to that last question.
Okay, you may continue.
Actually, no, I do object. If you're gonna ask her if she said something, that's fine. I object to hearsay if it's something else.
Well, I'm again not introducing the matter for the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor, but rather to show the knowledge that there is between her and Jason Mengel as of March 19th of 2018.
No, I'm going to object to hearsay. And if it's not for the truth of the matter, it's not got any relevancy to this. It's just gossip.
Well, I guess I'm not exactly
Can we?
sure what it is
Your
you're
Honor, I'll
objecting
explain.
No, I think, is this about the same thing we had the sidebar about?
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, and is this,
I've got, yes, two more questions.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. DeFore.
All right. So,
I just want to say, chat, that as far as hair goes, I don't think any channel on YouTube has so many viewers with such fine hair, including you, Bob, but particularly the ladies. Everyone's got fantastic hair. And I know people put their best pics up on the profile picture, but come on. It really is standout good hair time on the True Crime Metrix community. A trip to Wisconsin may be in order, guys.
Jenna told Jason, and then he told you that you would come out of the shower with just a towel on, correct?
From what I remember, yes.
All right. And then the last part of that conversation that Jenna had with, Jenna Van de Zand had with Jason Mengel was that Jenna told Jason that you had told Matt Schreiner that you had just broken up with with Jason, and isn't that great, correct?
I don't remember exactly, no, what I had said to Matt or if I talked to him.
I'm not asking you what you said to Matt Schreiner on,
Okay.
when you, in that thing, I'm asking you, isn't it correct that Jason told you that Jenna told him that you had told that to Matt Schreiner, correct?
Correct, yes.
Thank you. After telling you about that, Jason hung up, correct?
Yes,
All right. And then you called Jenna Van de Zandt, correct?
yes.
And told her she had to fix this, correct?
I don't believe those are my exact words, but I was just kind of like, what's going on?
You wanted her to clear it up with Jason, correct?
And not exactly, I wouldn't say I wanted her to clear it up with him. He knew everything that had happened already. It's just, I was like,
So
can you talk to him about this? He's angry and frustrated.
you wanted her to talk to him about it, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then either on the 20th or the 21st, Jason gave you the letter that Jenna Van de Zandt had sent, correct?
I don't know the exact date, but at some point he had given me the letter.
And in that letter, you read the letter, correct?
Yes, I read it.
And Jenna essentially said she was.
Don't forget Chandler, Halderson, Neville. I mean, I think Wisconsin's even more crazy than Florida in a lot of ways, It's got its own brand of crazy crimes that's just for Wisconsin.
Washing her hands of the situation, correct?
Yes.
Can you turn to, you still have Exhibit 420 up there?
That is correct.
Can you turn to, it's towards the end. And unfortunately, my copy here doesn't have the DOJ page numbers on it, but it would be.
Just need another 26 likes, guys. We're doing, 29 now. 29 likes to get 100%. So if you haven't left a like on the video, please do that immediately.
I believe 5361.
I have that page pulled up, yes.
All right. And is the top message on there one from Jason to you that says he said this isn't usual Jason breakup behavior?
Yes.
All right. All right. Great. This Instagram exchange appears to be around 17:07, which would be around 5:07 p.m. on March 21st.
Yes, early in the morning.
All right. And
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Is this UTC or is this Wisconsin?
this is Wisconsin time. This exhibit converted everything to Wisconsin time.
Okay, so just so it's clear to me, I'm sorry, Council. 17, you said 17:07?
Yes, which would be 5:07.
Oh, in the evening. Is that
Correct.
what you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
All right. And let's go towards the bottom. Jason sends a text to you. It's the second last one on there. Says, I'm worried right now. If I sleep, what will happen? Correct?
Correct.
And continues, what will I dream? Correct?
Correct.
And continues on, going on 4 months of this restless sleeping on a couch. Correct?
Correct.
And the next text is, and the new trauma really draining my hope, correct?
Correct.
And what he's referring to there by the new trauma is the information he got from Jenna Van de Zandt, correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right. And then you respond, if you let yourself only think of negative things before you sleep, you let yourself lose, correct?
Correct.
And you state you become nothing, correct?
Correct.
And He responds, I can give hope, correct?
Correct.
But then continues on, but I feel like I lost mine, correct?
Correct.
And continues on, I'll faking it till it returns, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, yes, it's hard to try and stop thoughts, but it's not hard to replace them in positive ways. And the more you do it, the better it will get, correct?
Correct.
And continue on, sorry if I seem slightly distracted. I'm filling out an application also, correct?
Correct.
And then Jason.
Yeah, I don't like that, Leslie. That's a Wisconsin-wide thing. Attorneys remain seated when questioning, when addressing the judge. You know, they're allowed to stand up. Miss Vishni, Ezra's counsel, upon her direct examination, was standing up for quite a bit of it. I don't like it. I want a standing attorney. If I was arrested for a serious crime in America, I would need it to happen in a court, in a state where the court officials had to stand up. Well, not the court officials, the counsels.
Replies, I was drinking enough to forget and see her, correct?
Correct.
Literally, continues on, literally, how sad is that, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, I'm right here, correct?
Correct.
And continue on, each time you say that, you throw her away, correct?
Correct.
Then continue on and push her further and further
Oh, Veronica, I thought that was actually you.
down, correct?
Correct.
And continue on, that's how I feel, correct?
Correct.
And then Jason responds, you know what I mean, correct?
Correct.
And then continues, the idea of you,
Correct.
the one, correct?
Correct.
The girl to prove me wrong, correct?
Correct.
Everything I never knew I always wanted, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, yes, but I'm not an idea. She never was. I am a human. She's alive, fighting harder than, correct?
Correct.
Just know that and respect her, correct?
Correct.
And then Jason responds, I can, correct?
Correct.
And also continues on, but I also can't hold my tongue. Now speaking thoughts isn't going to help either of us, correct?
Correct.
And continues, kind of what got us in this situation, correct?
Correct. I think he might have meant not speaking.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
And we're going to continue down a little bit. Going to, it should be 5365 at the bottom. Are you there?
Yes.
The second last message is one from Jason indicating, do you want me to call, correct?
Correct.
And now we're at about 1853, which would be.
Yeah, good point, Derek. You know, there's a lot of people here. And we're also on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Don't forget to join Discord, guys, because that's where all the magic happens. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Per annum, 100%. link in the description to the social networks and Discord. What is Discord? It's just a fancy chat room, and it's free. It's just a social place where all the True Crime Metrix community are when there's not a show on. So you never have to feel lost or alone, because we're all right there waiting for you.
About 6:53 p.m.
Yes,
All right. And you respond, yeah, please, correct?
that is correct.
And then continuing to the next page, about halfway down, right after it indicates that Journal 2 and Journal 1 were last updated. Do you see those?
Yes,
All right. It says there was a message from Jason indicating was nice talking, correct?
that is correct.
And you say very nice, correct?
That is correct.
And he then states, hope you feel a little better, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, I do. I hope you also, correct?
Correct.
And you state, it's nice to hear a voice that makes me calm, correct?
Correct.
And Jason then responds, all things considered, I miss your voice, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
And you respond, well, you know, it's the same for me, correct?
Correct.
And then skipping a couple, it says, truly it was nice talking, let's keep it up, correct?
Correct.
And he replies, we should try, correct?
Correct.
And then states, with you working, it's going to be less often, correct?
Correct.
And he says, and same here, hopefully, correct?
Correct.
And you then respond, good days, bad days, I'm happy to talk. Oh, don't worry, plenty of time between work.
Hey, thank you so much to Jane's World, who just bought us 3 cups of coffee on buymeacoffee.com. Thanks, Jane. That's very much appreciated. And link in the description. Social networks, buymeacoffee.com, Patreon, YouTube memberships, merch, fantastic merch.
Work and sleep to talk with the jobs I'll be having, and I'll happily talk, correct?
Correct.
And continue on. Don't forget, I also have the phone next to me at night. Here, if late night you really need to.
There's 3 prosecutors, Leslie. There's Miss, what's her name? Nolan. There's the woman, the blonde woman, and there's the older guy and the younger guy. There's 3 prosecutors. That's another thing with Wisconsin. They seem to love teams of 3 prosecutors. We saw that in well, Chandler Halderson was prosecuted by 2, but Stephen Avery had 3 prosecutors. This case has 3 prosecutors. Others I can think of. Can't think of them right now.
Call, correct?
Correct.
And Jason responds, good to know, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then asks you what time you're thinking of coming Wednesday, correct?
Correct.
All right. And this is an Instagram message that was on March 21st of 2018, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Which would have been a Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
All right. Because we know March 22nd was a Thursday, correct?
Correct.
So this is referring to the next week, meaning March 28th, correct?
Yes.
All right. And continues on, and do you have to work that night, correct?
Correct.
And continues on, and do I need anything prepared, correct?
Correct.
It's catching on. Now she's saying correct.
And then you respond, well, the appointment was for at 1, and yes, I work that night at 9:45, 10 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And then state, I would just bring your IDs and stuff, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's continue to page 5370.
I am there, yes.
All right, and do you see the text that said "Pops will be proud"?
Yes,
And then that came from Jason, correct?
correct.
And this is at about 8:31 p.m. It says 2031.
Yes,
And then he responds 9:19, correct?
correct.
And then you state life starts now, correct?
Correct.
And
I have lost the track of this. I don't know where he's going or how long he's going to go on for. I'm hoping he goes into a new line of questioning momentarily.
Jason's response to that is no more excuses, correct?
Correct.
No more lies, correct?
Correct.
No more lies.
And you respond, I thought about it a lot, and I think I'll call Wintership to return.
I'll get this. This is good. Just okay. I'm going to play this out, make a comment, and then play it again.
Correct.
No more lies, correct?
Correct.
And you respond, I thought about it a lot, and I think I'll call Wintership to return the tattoo gift so I can for sure pay for therapy, correct?
Correct.
And respond, continue on, it's more important, correct?
Correct.
All right, and he responds, it's up to you, not even 100% sure if you can, correct?
Correct.
And you say, that's why I'll call, correct?
Correct.
Oh, I missed it. This thing about the tattoo gift card.
For sure pay for therapy, correct? Two more lies, correct?
Correct.
And
So she says, "Oh, I think I'm gonna." Assumedly, Jason gave her a gift card for a tattoo, right? And she says, "Oh, I think I'll call them up and see if I can return the gift card, and that'll surely be enough to pay for therapy." And she's obviously hoping for him to say, "No, no, 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 no. Don't return the gift card. That's for your tattoo." That's what she's hoping, right? She's volunteering to return the gift card, and she expects and him to say, "No, no, I'll pay. I'll pay out of my military wage for therapy, and you still get your tattoo." But Jason doesn't bite, and he turns around and says, "Well, I'm not even sure if you can return it." And she's like, "Well, that's why I'll call." It kind of snaps, you know. Listen to it.
you respond, I thought about it a lot, and I think I'll
I thought about it a lot.
call Wintership to return the tattoo gift so I can for sure pay for therapy, correct?
Correct.
And respond, continue on, it's more important, correct?
Correct.
All right, and he responds, it's up to you, not even 100% sure if you can, correct?
Correct.
And you say, that's why I'll call, correct?
Correct.
That's why I'll call is hostile. A non-hostile way that she could have said the same thing would say, well, it's worth checking because, you know, I don't care about the tattoo right now. The important thing is that we get into therapy and, you know, sort out any issues that are still existing between us. I couldn't even think about a tattoo right now. I'll call them up and I'll try and persuade them, even if it's not, you know, within their policy. But she just snaps and goes, well, that's why I'll call, because she's disappointed that he didn't turn around and say, hey, don't return the gift card. That was a gift. I'll come up with the money. And what kind of cereal would you like this week? Does anyone agree? Like the video if you agree with that fucking analogy.
And continuing to the next page, which is 5371, you see the last text on, or Instagram message on that page is from you to Jason, correct?
Correct.
And it states you are loved, correct?
Correct.
And then good night, correct?
Correct.
And then Jason responds, good night, Ezra, correct?
Correct.
And then he states, you don't understand, he builds bicycles, correct?
Correct.
And then says guys, correct?
Correct.
And then these wheels, correct?
Correct.
And your response to that at 9:38:11 is an Instagram that says, my husband, correct?
Correct.
And his response is dream wildly, correct?
Correct.
And that would be the
Thanks for the coffee, C. Malone. Much appreciated, my son.
last Instagram outside of it looks like a photo or some type of link that's received between you and Jason McCandle on March 21st of 2018, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. You can keep that up there for now. We'll probably be talking a little more about that. So let's get to March 22nd of 2018.
That's the day of the murder.
You woke up that morning, correct?
Yes.
And you had to find your keys that morning, correct?
I knew where they were, yes.
But your dad had hidden your keys, hadn't he?
He didn't hide them. He said he hid them, but he just placed them on top of the cupboard, the tall cupboard.
A place that would be harder for you to reach, correct?
Yes, I'm not very tall.
Be harder for you to reach, correct?
Yes.
And he did that because he told you shouldn't be driving, correct?
Yes.
And I think in your interview with Detective Prock that we heard the other day, there was something about insurance, correct?
Yes. It was about insurance.
And you had to walk to get your car, correct?
That is not correct.
Okay, your car wasn't at the gas station in Stanley?
No.
And then you drove over to Alex's house, correct?
Correct.
All right. And that's the first place you went when you got to
Eau Claire?
Eau Claire, yes.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. But you told Officer Reeves when you talked to him that you went to Racy's first, didn't you?
Which officer was Officer Reeves?
Officer Reeves was the Eau Claire police officer that you talked to at the hospital on March 22nd of 2018.
There's a lot about speaking with individuals in the hospital that I don't remember.
Okay. You told Detective Prock when you were interviewed on March 23rd that the first place that you went, I'm sorry, on March 24th, you told Officer Prock that the first place that you went was Racy's, correct?
Yes.
That wasn't true, was it?
I had misstated, yes.
It wasn't true, correct?
Yes.
And the reason that you were going to meet Alex was to return a heating pad and a bookmark?
I had said that, yes. I just had some various things. The heating pad for sure.
And there was an enclosed porch on Alex's residence, correct?
Yes, it's
And
enclosed.
you could have left the heating pad and the bookmark on that porch, correct?
Yes.
You never told Detective Prock when you talked to him on March 23rd that you were going to or wanted to show Alex your journals, did you?
No.
And you never told Detective Prock when he interviewed you on March 24th that you wanted to show Alex your journals, did you?
No, I don't believe I did.
And you never actually showed Alex your journals, did you?
We just discussed them, yes.
You didn't show him your journals, did you?
Not physically, no.
That's a no?
Yes, sorry.
And you agree that when you went to see Alex on March 22nd, that Alex was afraid of you, correct?
That is not correct.
All right, well, let's take a look. Can you turn to,
Oh man, Neverly, I went through the whole day without baking Sarah Boone a cake. How did I miss that? 10, 10, 7, 7. Yeah, far out. Wow, so she's 47. Oh, 47 years old, and she could have been out. She could have done a deal, and the deal was for 15 years. She's in February. So in how many months is that? What, 4 months? In 4 months, she'd be up to, she'd done 5. So she'd have another 10 left on her bid, probably be out in 8, right? With a reduction, good behavior if she's capable of that. 8 years, she would have been out by the time she was 55. But now, because she's going to trial, she's probably not going to come out for at least the minimum, I'd say, would be 18 years. So she'll be 65. Wow. Kind of a big difference. That's a big chunk. 55 to 65, huh? You know, after 65, you're going downhill. After 55, you've still got a lot of oomph. A lot of oomph. That's like your last big decade, isn't it? 55 to 65.
5161 in Exhibit 420?
Excuse me, Counsel.
Yep.
Mr. DeForest.
Yes. Your Honor, it appears that the times may be off by an hour. I'd have to look at it to be sure, but I'm not going to dispute the counsel is correct. But it may be that the times on March might be at the end, towards the end of March, might be off by an hour. They might have been adjusted for standard time versus daylight savings time. So.
Yes, I showed Mr. DeForest the original what the actual UTC was, and it was daylight savings time. That's all.
Daylight savings time, and I understand, I checked it, would have started March 11th, and I don't have a problem with the court taking judicial notice of that.
Any issue with that?
No.
Okay, the court will take judicial notice of that fact.
Are you at 5161?
But that would be 22 minus the 4.5 she's already done, yeah, Neverly?
You said 5161?
Yes.
Just about there.
You're there, let me know.
Yes.
All right. And just so that it's clear that we're on the same page as the last.
Yeah, I know that this line of questioning's taken a bit of a boring turn, guys. Listen, coming up very soon, we've got a big storm coming in tomorrow. And there's going to be more and more of those. Meaning, I'm going to be spending a lot more time indoors. So for the future, I intend that, you know, I'm going to go through these testimonies beforehand and cut out the meaningless 5,000 versions of correct, and you sent this text, correct, and then you sent this text, correct. We don't need it. We don't want it. We don't need it. We ain't no fools.
Last Instagram on there, say yes, hun, on 5161.
That is correct.
Okay. Go up a few from there.
Yes.
Fifth one up from the bottom is an Instagram from yourself to Jason Mengel, correct?
Just for accuracy, counsel, could you just state what the date of that conversation was?
Sure. This is on March 12th of 2018, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the fifth one up there is, quote, he's scared of me, correct?
Yes.
And you're talking about Alex Woodworth in that conversation, are you not?
Yes.
Angie asks, who would you rather have as a cellmate? Donna Adelson, Sarah Boone, or Icky Ezra? Donna Adelson. 100%. No, I don't even need to think about it. I do not want to have Sarah Boone as a fucking cellmate. Jesus Christ. And I don't want to have Icky Ezra. I don't want to touch this girl with a 10-foot pole. You know? Just get away from me. Donna Adelson, you know, I do not like her. I do not want to be around her, but I would have questions. And like it's similar to what I said about Wendy the other day. It's like, you know, there's something to study at least. I don't have any questions about Sarah. I don't have any questions about Ezra. They're just fucking idiots. And you could say Donna's an idiot as well. But, you know, there's layers. At least there's some layers with Donna, right? There's a game to be played there.
But you were not afraid of Alex, correct?
No.
You went back from Alex's to Racy's after you were there the first time, correct?
Correct.
And at that time you met with Max Martinson, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you eventually went to Max's apartment,
Yes.
exchanged paintings, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then you returned to Racy's, correct?
Yes.
When you got to Racy's the first time that morning, you parked on the street, correct?
Yes.
Shut your car off, correct?
I don't remember exactly, but I might have. Yes.
All right. And then went into Racy's, correct?
Yes.
All right. Came back out, started your car back up again, correct?
Yes, I drove my car.
And then drove to Max's, correct?
Yes.
Shut your car off when you got to Max's?
No.
Okay. Went back to Racy's, parked again, correct?
Yes.
All right. Shut your car off and went back into Racy's?
I'm not exactly sure if I shut my car off that time or not.
And I just want to talk very, very briefly about the clothes that you were wearing that day. I want to start with that yellow shirt that you had on, okay?
Yes.
That was the shirt, no, the yellow shirt.
The last layer of clothing, the yellow tiger shirt, I believe.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That,
Inside.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
That's why I was confused, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And that yellow shirt was the one that was closest to your body, correct?
Yes.
And that was actually Jason Mengel's shirt, wasn't it?
That was one of his shirts. Yes.
All right. And one that you had referenced to Jason Mengel as sleeping next to because it had his smell on it, correct?
Yes.
So that shirt was important to you, correct?
It was a shirt. Yes. I just liked
And
it.
in fact, you had told Jason Mengel in an Instagram message that you were concerned that it had been washed and that would have washed his smell off of it, correct?
Yes, the boyfriend smell.
And you were wearing some jeans, correct?
I love how the prosecutor leaves this big pause there, you know? Just for the jury to go, what the fuck did she just say? She says these weird things. Yes, the boyfriend smell.
Yes, the boyfriend smell.
And you were wearing some jeans, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, you told Detective Proc that you had made those jeans, correct?
Yes, they were very large when I bought them, and I really liked them, so I had to tailor the waist in quite a bit.
Ma'am, My question is, you told Detective Prock that you made those jeans, correct?
Yes.
You didn't actually make those jeans, did you?
I didn't manufacture them, no, but I did alter them.
Ma'am, you didn't actually make those jeans, correct?
No, I did not manufacture those jeans.
You didn't make those jeans, correct?
Answered.
It hasn't been yet,
Well,
that's
it
the
hasn't been
problem.
answered. I think just have to answer the question.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
This was very Jody Arias, wasn't it? Juan Martinez would be bouncing up and down the courtroom right now. You didn't make those jeans, did you? I didn't manufacture them. They're referring to when she was in the interview with the police, and she was like, I wore these jeans and I made them myself because I'm so indie.
Once you got to Alex's apartment the second time,
Yes.
you knocked on the door the second time, correct?
Yes. Knocked on the door.
And then you saw Mr. Studing, correct?
Yes, I seen Dave.
And eventually Alex
It's Stoiding.
came down and answered the door, correct?
Yes.
And you, without any question, went up to Alex's room with him, correct?
There was a brief conversation before we went upstairs. Yes.
Right. But then eventually you went up to his room, correct?
Correct.
Didn't protest that at all, correct?
That was our meeting space.
Leslie, why does she change the word from make to manufacture? I think she, like, what do you call it? Upcycled her jeans. So she probably, I don't know, sewed in a zip that didn't have a pocket. You know, something like that. So she calls that making her jeans. But she wants to make the distinction of she didn't manufacture them as the original article of clothing. She added a useless zipper and maybe some ribbons. I don't know.
You didn't protest at all,
No.
correct? You didn't say, let's meet down here in the living room, let's talk outside, let's talk in my car, anything like that, correct?
No, I was comfortable going to his room.
All right. And you had no idea if Mr. Studing was staying, leaving, what he was doing, correct?
No, I just assumed he was home.
And went into Alex's room, correct?
Correct?
Door was closed, correct?
Yep. Yes.
And you said you started talking to him about your relationship with him, correct?
Yes, and many other things.
And you told Alex in that conversation that your relationship, you thought that your relationship with him was wrong, correct?
Not that it was just wrong, that I had a lot of mixed feelings about it, and that it shouldn't really have gone the way it did.
You said, you told Alex that you thought the relationship made you feel really like gross and like wrong and things like that, correct?
Yes, it brought me a lot of anxiety and guilt.
Question is, you told Alex that it made you feel really like gross and like wrong and things like that, correct?
I don't remember specifically saying it on that day, no.
You told Detective Prock that that's what you told Alex, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you asked Alex if he felt the same way about the relationship, correct?
I believe I asked him questions, yes.
And Alex told you he didn't feel the same way about it, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. In fact, he didn't feel guilty at all about your relationship, correct?
Yes, he didn't feel guilty at all.
While you're in Alex's room, he never threatened you at all, correct?
No.
Never told you he was going to harm you, correct?
Correct.
Never told you that he wanted to have sex with you one more time, correct?
Correct.
And Jason got there at some point in time, correct?
Yes.
Came into the bedroom, mind you,
Yes.
correct? You didn't tell Jason that there were any problems, correct?
Correct.
In fact, told Jason everything's fine, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
And then Jason left for a time, correct? He left, right?
Yeah, Neville, let's put that to a vote, shall we? Shall we do Wendy's 3 testimonies and the interview again? We could get the testimonies done before Sarah Byrne's trial. We could do tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Wendy's testimonies. What are people feeling like that in the chat? Should we do that?
Well, he went downstairs and outside and waited by my car.
So he left from Alex's bedroom, correct?
From the bedroom, yes.
And you stayed in Alex's bedroom for at least a little while.
Or it might be better to do a cut up, like with her interview and the testimonies. So maybe we can't do it immediately tomorrow. Or maybe we'll we'll just do it plain. I'll take notes. We'll all take notes as we go, and then we'll do a mashup edit. Yeah, maybe that's the thing we should do, Neville. Good thinking.
After Jason left, correct?
Not long after, no.
You stayed in Alex's bedroom for a little while after Jason left, correct?
A little while, yes.
And then you left, correct?
Yes.
Alex left the
Yes.
bedroom, correct?
Yes.
And you went outside at that point, correct?
Yes.
And when you went outside, the Eau Claire police officers were there, correct?
That is correct.
There were 2 of them, right?
Yes.
And they asked you if everything's okay, and you told them everything's fine, right?
Yep. Yes.
And at the time you met with the
Vivian, are you talking about the Adelson trials or the Magbanoa trial? You know, the trials of the murder of Dan Markel. Is that the trial that you only watched some of? We might need to do the whole thing from the beginning. There's 3 trials already. I mean, just for Vivian, it's the best one going.
Eau Claire Police Department. You knew about all the things you testified about that related to your relationship with Alex previously, correct?
Yes.
You knew all about these journal entries or these essays that you've talked about, correct?
Yes.
You knew at that time all about the things you testified about your prior sexual relationship with Alex Woodworth, correct?
They weren't on my mind at the time, but yes.
And you knew all about the things that you've testified this morning that made you uncomfortable about your relationship with Alex, correct?
Yes.
Despite that, you told the police that everything was fine, correct?
At that time, during that part of the day, I believe everything was fine. That is correct.
Your Honor, I'd ask that everything before that is correct be stricken as unresponsive to my question.
No, Judge, I would object to that. Many witnesses have added something in as they've explained their answers. They're entitled to explain.
I'm just going to let the answer stand. Go ahead. Continue, please.
And your plan was at that point in time to go someplace public to talk to Alex, correct?
It's what we talked about. Yes. It was on
Something.
our minds. Yes.
Something like a park, correct?
Yes. We had mentioned it together.
And you were driving when you left from there, correct?
That is correct.
Oh, by the way, when you were there, Officer O'Neill asked to see your driver's license, correct?
That is correct.
And he asked you if you could find it, correct?
Correct.
And your license was in your wallet, correct?
Correct.
All right. Your wallet was in that center console of the car, correct?
I believe so.
Well, in fact, you testified on direct
Yes.
that
Yes, it was.
there, correct?
That is correct.
Center console also was where the knife was, correct?
I don't know exactly where the knife was. I believe it was in the center console.
All right. And you told Officer O'Neill you couldn't find your driver's license, correct?
I think I was having trouble shuffling around. Middle console is full of a lot of papers and things also.
You told Officer O'Neill
Yes,
you
that I
couldn't
was having
find your
trouble finding it.
driver's
Yes,
license, correct?
that is correct.
Can you describe your wallet for us?
Just kind of a regular wallet.
How big is it?
Smaller, just a regular leather wallet. Your
I mean,
typical
is it
wallet.
a wallet that you put in a pocket, or is it a larger wallet that you put in your purse?
It's a smaller one. I don't usually carry a purse.
So after you're done talking to the officers, they leave, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And then you talked for a short time with Jason McCandle, correct?
That is correct.
And then drove off, correct?
Yes, we left.
And when you drove off, you were the one driving the car, correct?
That is correct.
And Alex had gotten in your car, correct?
Yes.
Didn't tell him you didn't want him in there, did you?
Okay, there's a poll there, guys. I hope that's clear enough. There's 4 options. Basically, the poll question is, should we cover the Wendy's testimonies and interview again? Option 1, yes, unedited. Option 2, yes, but do an edit mashup where we mix up bits of the interview and the testimonies. Or yes, do the unedited first and then do a mashup. That might be the best. And you people that love the mashup, maybe the best of both worlds would be to do it unedited and then do a mashup. Or no, we've already seen it. So get voting.
No.
Had no issue, in fact, with Alex coming along with you, right?
No.
You wanted to continue to talk to Alex, correct?
Yes.
Admitted as Exhibit 419B. You see that?
Yes.
All right. And that you recognize.
Bearing in mind, guys, if it's unedited and then a mashup, we can start it tomorrow. If it's got to be an edit mashup, I don't know if I can get it out tomorrow. So, and the other advantage is, as we're watching it, we can think about bits to put in the edit mashup, and you guys can have your input too. I think option 3 might be the best for everyone, but we'll see.
This is Alex's residence right here.
Yes.
And whatever the top score is what we're going with. But if it's edit mashup, that might be delayed.
I can see that.
And you were driving, right? Correct?
Are we speaking of after we had left the residence?
Right, after you left the residence, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you said you wanted to go to a park, correct?
Yes.
You were familiar with Phoenix Park because, in fact, you mentioned Phoenix Park to
Yes.
Detective Prock, correct?
Yes.
Phoenix Park is right here, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And Half Moon Park is right here, correct?
That is correct.
Both of those are within a few blocks of Alex's restaurant, of Alex's residence, correct?
Yes.
You didn't drive to either of those parks, did you?
It wasn't really concrete, so I just drove.
You didn't drive to either
No.
of those parks, did you?
No.
Instead, you headed west on Cameron Street, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And just basically headed out of town, correct?
Yes, I'm just basically.
You wanted to be in a place where it was in public, correct?
Correct. That had
That
been
would
mentioned.
imply other people being present, correct?
Yes, that would imply that.
Phoenix Park would be a location where other people would be present, wouldn't it?
At times, yes.
All right, and Half Moon Park would be a place where other people would be present, correct?
At times, yes.
And you didn't go to either of those locations, correct?
No.
You passed by a park as you got into Dunn County, correct?
I'm not aware of any parks in Dunn County.
Oh, you drove on County Highway E, correct?
No, I'm going to object. That's
I-
misstating the testimony because she said
Really
they switched drivers and,
Well, she said she didn't know when.
Yeah, it's not clear when and where they switched drivers. So you may continue this line of questioning.
I honestly was just driving. I wasn't really paying attention to where I was going. I was just on a road driving.
Going to someplace public to talk, correct?
That had been mentioned, but sometimes we drive around and we talk.
Now, you said that as you're driving, you started to feel uncomfortable, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And we still need another 22 likes on the video for our 100% rating. So please, if you haven't liked the video and you're still here, you must be here because you like it, right? So show us you like it. Use that big thumb. Use that big thumb. Click that thumb.
Didn't turn around and just come back into town or ask Alex to get out of the car? Didn't do it?
See, Malone, a mashup, I just mean an edit. Like we take a bit of the testimony and then we find a bit of the interview and, it kind of adds context, right? So it just means editing it together. It's going to be interesting, but it's going to take me a bit of time, and I've got some things to do tomorrow in the day. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to do like an effective job in the edit suite. But very soon. How are we doing on that poll?
Either of those?
No.
Now, I seem to recall when you talked to Detective Prock that you told him that Mr. Sipple seemed familiar. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And now at least certainly, Mr. Sipple lives on 430th Ave, correct?
That is correct.
And 430th Ave happens to be the exact road that you turned off of when you turned off of County Highway E, correct?
Yes, that's the road Alex turned off of.
I'd start the closing argument now, Neverly, but it's quite long. He runs it for about 90 minutes, and then there's the rebuttal, and the defense really milks it as well. So I don't think we've got time to cover that today.
And you told Detective Prock, actually, strike that, withdraw that. The stop along 430th was at the very first field road that happens as you got to 430th, correct?
Yes, that's where he had stopped driving.
And I want to talk a little bit about the circumstances once you got there. You said that the vehicle got stuck and just couldn't get it out, correct?
The first time it got stuck, I maneuvered it, but the second time, no, I could not get it out.
Yep. And that's what I meant. And
Okay,
thank you
thank
for
you.
clarifying that.
Yes.
Once it got stuck, you said you sat for a period of time on the trailer hitch, correct?
Yes, after looking around a bit.
5-10 minutes you sat on the trailer hitch?
I can't tell you an exact time, no.
Short period, long period?
It felt like a long period of time.
You don't know though.
No.
All right. And then Alex came up to you and talked to you, correct?
He didn't really speak. It was more of an action.
Okay. He hugged you, you said, correct?
From behind, he approached me and he hugged me.
So let's talk about you're getting in the back seat.
Yes.
You said you got in the back seat and your story today was that you laid down on your back, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Prock?
No, I'm going to object. That misstates the testimony. She said she went on the back seat, she was curled up in a certain way, and then she turned on her back.
Yes.
Well, the jury heard the testimony, so they decide.
You told Detective Prock that you were actually on, and well, all right, well, let's just complete it then. Your story that you told the jury today was that when Alex got into the car, you were on your back.
That is the face of someone who realizes things are not going well for her. Did you hear that little exhale? She's pissed off at her attorneys as well. She's like, why aren't you objecting?
It was more of an action.
Okay, he hugged you, you said, correct?
From behind, he approached me and he hugged me.
So let's talk about you're getting in the back seat.
Yes.
You said you got in the back seat and your story today was that you laid down on your back, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Prock?
No, I'm going to object. That misstates the testimony. She said she went on the back seat, she was curled up in a certain way, and then she turned on her back.
Yes.
Well, the jury heard the testimony, so they decide.
You told Detective Prock that you were actually on, and well, all right, well, let's just complete it then. Your story that you told the jury today was that when Alex got into the car, you were on your back, correct?
Yes, I had been repositioned myself after I felt him approach.
Jane, the motive is basically that she wants to get back with Jason. And the guy she killed is one of the guys that she was cheating on Jason with. So it's kind of, it's weird. We were talking about this last night, how the motive seems really obvious in some ways. And then you look at it again and then you think, well, how did that really help anything? It's peculiar. But she also loves to be the victim, and Jason loves to be the hero. So as she was killing Alex, she turned, well, after she killed him, she stabbed him 16 times. She sliced his scrotal sac. She stabbed him in the head and punctured the brain with a knife, horrible knife, and stabbed him 16 times all over his body, basically. And then she cut herself. She cut the word boy into her arm. Just scratches. The doctors took one look at it and said, well, that looks self-inflicted, because it hurt. So she couldn't do it like too viciously. But the whole story was that he tried to rape her and she had to defend herself. And there was a sane exam. And then Jason, hero Jason, she was calling all the time for Jason to come down to the hospital. Oh, that's quite a good thing to show. Shit, have we got time to? It would take me a little while to find it. Yeah, so the motive is nonsensical, but we've got a rough idea.
Yes.
You didn't protest at all,
No.
correct? You didn't say, let's meet down here in the living room, let's talk outside, let's talk in my car, anything like that, correct?
No, I was comfortable going to his room.
And you had no idea if Mr. Studing was staying, leaving, what he was doing, correct?
No, I just assumed he was home.
And went into Alex's room, correct?
Correct?
Door was closed, correct?
Yep. Yes.
And you said you started talking to him about your relationship with him, correct?
Yes, and many other things.
And you told Alex in that conversation that you thought that your relationship with him was wrong, correct?
Not that it was just wrong, that I had a lot of mixed feelings about it, and that it shouldn't really have gone the way it did.
You said, you told Alex that you thought the relationship made you feel really like gross and like wrong and things like that, correct?
Yes, it brought me a lot of anxiety and guilt.
Question is, you told Alex that it made you feel really like gross and like wrong and things like that, correct?
I don't remember specifically saying it on that day, no.
You told Detective Prock that that's what you told Alex, correct?
Yes,
All right. And you asked Alex if he felt the same way about the relationship, correct?
I believe I asked him questions, yes.
And Alex told you he didn't feel the same way about it, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. In fact, he didn't feel guilty at all about your relationship, correct?
Yes, he didn't feel guilty at all.
While you're in Alex's room, he never threatened you at all, correct?
No,
Never told you he was going to harm you, correct?
correct.
Never told you that he wanted to have sex with you one more time, correct?
Correct.
And Jason got there at some point in time, correct?
Yes,
Came into the bedroom, by you,
yes,
correct? You didn't tell Jason that there were any problems, correct?
correct.
In fact, told Jason everything's fine, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
And then Jason left for a time, correct? He left, right?
Well, he went downstairs and outside and waited by my car.
So he left from Alex's bedroom,
From the
correct?
bedroom, yes.
And you stayed in Alex's bedroom for at least a little while after Jason left, correct?
Not long after, no.
You stayed in Alex's bedroom for a little while after Jason left,
A
correct?
little while, yes.
And then you left, correct?
Yes,
Alex left the
Yes.
bedroom, correct?
yes,
And you went outside at that point, correct?
yes,
And when you went outside, the Eau Claire police officers were there, correct?
that is correct.
There were two of them, right?
Yes,
And they asked you if everything's okay, and you told them everything's fine, right?
yep, yes.
And at the time you met with the Eau Claire Police Department, you knew
Yes, Vivian, she did leave the car running. That's on the police body cam.
about all the things you testified about that related to your relationship with Alex previously, correct?
Yes,
You knew all about these journal entries or these essays that you've talked about, correct?
yes,
You knew at that time all about the things you testified about your prior sexual relationship with Alex Woodworth, correct?
they weren't on my mind at the time, but yes,
And you knew all about the things that you've testified this morning that made you uncomfortable about your relationship with Alex, correct?
yes,
And despite that, you told the police that everything was fine, correct?
at that time,
Derek, this image keeps getting better and better with the collective group consciousness. You know, we started off with the simple thing of Alex banging Ezra reading Kierkegaard, but then she said he liked to turn the lights off. So he's now reading in the dark. And we went from that. I think it was Victoria girl who said he must have been wearing a headlamp like a miner. He's wearing a miner's helmet with a little lamp on the front. And so we've gone. So Ezra's in prone. Alex is boinking her with a miner headlamp, reading from Kierkegaard. And now you've just added the fact that Jason might be the one holding the book open for him. The cartoon expands, my friends.
during that part of the day, I believe everything was fine. That is correct.
Your Honor, I'd ask that everything before that is correct be stricken as unresponsive to my question.
No, Judge, I would object to that. Many witnesses have added something in as they've explained their answers. They're entitled to explain.
I'm just going to let the answer stand. Go ahead. Continue, please.
And your plan was at that point in time to go someplace public to talk to Alex, correct?
It's what we talked about. Yes, it was on
Something-
our minds. Yes.
Something like a park, correct?
Yes, we had mentioned it together.
And you were driving when you left from there, correct?
That is correct.
Oh, by the way, when you were there, Officer O'Neill asked to see your driver's license, correct?
That is correct.
And he asked you if you could find it, correct?
Correct.
And your license was in your wallet, correct?
Correct.
All right. Your wallet was in that center console of the car, correct?
I believe so.
Well, in fact, you testified on direct
Yes.
that
Yes, it was.
there, correct?
That is correct.
Center
This did get rewound, didn't it? Good spotted. I didn't even notice. I just hear correct.
The other two times in the left side, he would have been in the car then, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
And when you stabbed him in the stomach, he was in the car, correct?
Yes.
When you stabbed him in the right leg, he was in the car, correct?
I don't know precisely.
What the fuck? How can the poll go back to one vote? We've gone back in time. What is going on? I mean, okay, well, everyone vote again. How did that happen? That must be a YouTube glitch, guys. I don't know.
Two up. So can you, and here I'm going to give you a laser pointer. Could you show us on here where Alex was laying down when you left from that area? You said it was by the trailer, so I just want to know exactly where he was.
He was.
Angie, the knife came, her dad has a tree cutting business and he'd bought 2 EMT knives. You want to see the knife? It's pretty good knife and it doesn't cost that much. It's got a seatbelt cutter and here you go. This is the very same knife that she used. It's got a seatbelt cutter and the, what do you call it? The hilt has an emergency break glass hammer, like a hard point on it. So that's it there. See, you got your seatbelt cutter and your hammer to break the glass. I mean, that's it's pretty good.
I don't know. He was in this He was in this area.
Okay. So the area around by the number 9 on there.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
And his, you can switch off his coat was off.
She took it from her dad's house. Basically, he just ordered these 2 knives, 2 of these knives for his tree cutting business. And when the cops went to his house, they said, "Do you have any knives or weapons?" And he says, "Yeah, I've just ordered 2 knives. So one's in my pocket, and I think the other one is in my junk drawer in the kitchen or the truck." And he went to the junk drawer and he went to the truck, and it wasn't in either of those locations. So the evidence is that Ezra took his knife without him knowing.
Yes.
He was laying down on top of his coat.
That is correct.
What was on top of his coat? His head or some other part of him?
His body was on. He was on top of his coat. I can't specifically tell you what parts exactly what were on the top of the coat. He was laying on top of the coat.
Right. And I think you said you took his phone, correct?
I grabbed it from the car. Yes.
Okay.
Right. And you took his phone. So
Poll's over, guys, but this is a fake poll. Did we get a result from the last one? Leslie says that the third option won, but all of the votes from that just disappeared. Anyway, I trust Leslie, and we're doing what is option 3? Option 3 is first we're going to do the testimonies unedited. We can begin those tomorrow, and then we're going to do the mashup, the edit mashup, which I think will be a really good way to bring some points home. You know, got to get back into the Adelson case sooner or later. We might as well make it tomorrow. You know, we can come back to Ezra's closing arguments at some later date. You know, we're going to have some time in between Sarah Boone. There's going to be jury selection. There's going to be long waiting periods. And, you know, it only gets, we're going to be covering it live. So that's going to be from what, 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon. So later at night, we'll be able to do some other stuff as well, I guess.
So you could call for help, correct?
Yes.
Didn't dial 911, did you?
No.
Didn't call Jason Mangle, did you?
No.
Didn't call, in fact, anybody for help, did you?
That's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't.
You didn't call.
It is late in Portugal riding shotgun. It's 4:06 in the morning. And yeah, if we're going to wrap this up, we're trying to get through this last 30 minutes. But if anyone wants to send us a coffee, last minute coffees are on the go at buymeacoffee.com, guys. Thank you very much.
Call
No.
anyone for help, did you?
No.
Where did you grab Alex's phone from?
The car.
I'm sorry?
The car.
Where in the car?
It was in the back of the car.
Where in the back of the car?
I'd seen it in the footwell.
I'm sorry?
I had seen it inside. I spotted the phone inside the footwell.
Okay. Passenger side or driver's side?
It was in the footwell. It was just amongst.
You don't know whether it was the passenger side or the driver's side?
I remember just grabbing it from where your feet would go in the car.
Again, my question is, you don't remember if it was the passenger side or the driver's side?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. And you also took the knife along,
Yes.
carrying the knife in your right hand, correct? Or your left hand, I'm sorry, correct?
Yes.
The phone was in your right hand,
Yes.
and then you said you fell and the phone broke and you just kind of left it there?
Yes, the phone had busted, a part of it.
And then but you kept the knife with you at that point?
It was still in my hand, yes.
And you carried that knife until you got to the driveway of Mr. Sippel's daughter's residence, correct?
I had dropped it in the ditch, yes.
And that's where you dropped it in the ditch, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Just before you got to that driveway, correct?
I don't know exactly. I've seen the photos, so I know where it was, but from my memory, I don't know exactly what place I dropped the knife.
And in the photos, it shows it dropped just before that driveway, correct?
Yes, that is what the photos show.
And then you walked up to the back door of Mr. Sippel's residence, correct?
Yes, I found my way there.
You walked up to the back door of Mr. Sippel's residence, correct?
Yes,
All right. And rang the doorbell a number of times, correct?
rapidly.
Rang the doorbells a number of times, correct?
Correct.
And when you got there, you went there to try to get help, correct?
Yes,
And first thing you asked Mr. Sippel to do was to call or take you to a hospital, correct?
that's what I've heard, yes.
All right. You did not ask Mr. Sippel to call the police, did you?
No,
All right. You didn't ask Mr. Sippel to make sure no one else could get there, correct? Get in there, correct?
no,
You didn't ask Mr. Sippel if he had anything to protect you at that point, correct?
no,
But you did ask him to take you to the hospital.
yes, I've heard that, yes.
That's what you asked him, correct?
Yes.
You never told Mr. Sipple that the person that you are claiming assaulted you was lying severely wounded back where your car was stuck in the mud, did you?
No.
You never told Mr. Sipple that you had stabbed Alex Woodworth?
No.
She could have said yes. You know, he's 90 years old. He doesn't remember. She could have said, yeah, I told him. I said, listen, my buddy, he's in danger and he needs help now. We need to get help.
Shortly after you arrived at Mr. Sipple's house, law enforcement officers began to arrive, correct?
Yes.
All right. A number of them arrived at the residence, correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, you knew there were all these law enforcement there, right?
Yes.
You knew you were safe at that point in time, didn't you?
What is hard for me with this is that I don't remember much
Ma'am?
from that interaction.
If the answer is no, that's fine. You can say no. If you don't know the answer, that's fine.
Yes.
But just tell me, the question is, you knew you were safe at that point in time,
Judge,
correct?
I
She has a
don't
right
know.
to explain if a question can't be answered by yes or no. Other witnesses have certainly done it. This court has permitted it. And I'd ask that the same consideration be given by Mr. DeFore to Ms. McCandle's.
Well, that's just fine. If she can't give a yes or no answer, can't answer the question, then you tell him you don't remember.
Yes.
Can't answer the question.
I
That's you,
don't.
Judge.
I don't remember. No.
Okay, fair enough. And after law enforcement got there, you got in the ambulance with the paramedics, correct?
Yes.
Right. And you didn't tell, by the way, you didn't tell law enforcement that your car was back stuck on that mud road or that farm road, correct?
Yes.
You didn't tell the law enforcement officers that first got there that you had just stabbed Alex Woodworth a number of times, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't tell Mr. Wayne, the paramedic, that there was this other person that was lying there with a bunch of stab wounds in him, did you?
No.
Right. Didn't tell him that maybe Alex was dead or dying there or needed help, did you?
No.
This guy was born in 1928, right? He's so old that he refers to the 911 operator as the transmitter. Seriously, he did that on the stand. I was talking to the transmitter. Starting transmission. This guy was born before radio was invented, guys. No, he's very nice, and you know, he's his statement that he gave, it wasn't a victim impact statement, it was a character statement on behalf of Ezra, and it was amazing, actually. You know, he came out with the oldest guy in the room by at least 20 years, right? And he brought that ancient knowledge, that ancient love knowledge.
And you got to the hospital, correct?
Yes.
Right. At the hospital, you met first with a female nurse, correct?
I don't remember much. I remember a lot of different interactions from the hospital, but specifics are very hard for me.
Right. But you didn't tell that nurse where your car was, correct?
That is correct.
All right. In fact, at the hospital, you told people at the hospital that what happened at Owen Park, didn't you?
That's what I've seen and heard. Yes.
Right. That's what you told them, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you knew at that point in time that nothing happened at Owen Park, didn't you?
Yes.
Did not tell that first nurse that you met with that somebody was attempting to sexually assault you, did you?
Can you please repeat that question?
Sure. The question was, you didn't tell that first nurse that you met with that someone was attempting to sexually assault you, did you?
I don't remember what I told the first nurse.
Isn't it true that what you told them is you don't remember what happened, correct?
That is correct.
And then you met with the same nurse.
Yeah, that does sound good, Amy. I usually get pretty annoyed with insane amounts of flavor options. You know, I drink black coffee with no sugar. That's it. You know, but yeah, the what is it called? A triple cappuccino cinnamon spiced pumpkin latte. I just like saying it. That sounds great.
Nurse, Jennifer Morris, correct?
Yes.
And you knew at that point in time you were safe, correct?
Yes.
You did not tell Ms. Morris what happened to you, correct?
No.
In fact, you told again Ms. Morris that it happened at Owen Park, didn't you?
I don't remember saying it, but if that is in the transcript, then yes.
And you didn't tell her that you had been sexually assaulted, correct?
I don't remember what I said to her, no, but
In fact, what you told
Yes.
Ms. Morris was you couldn't remember, correct?
correct.
And then you spoke as well to Kelly Swartos, correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, I think we heard from one of your interviews, you were in a unit that was locked, correct?
Correct.
So you knew at that point in time as well.
It's a good point, Neville Darlin, who says, I'm amazed that Ezra didn't leave a message for Alex after she killed him like Jody did for Travis. And that's an interesting point, because what the hell was her plan? You know, her initial plan was he attacked me and stole my car. Right? That was her initial plan. But what about the body? You know, was she going to return to the scene and cut him up and burn his remains, or what? I mean, someone's going to find him eventually, and it's your car. It's registered to you that he's hanging out of, bleeding to death. You know, that's going to come back to you.
Well, you're safe, correct?
Yes, I had known I was safe.
Like, fair enough. If the car disappeared and Alex completely disappeared, it's maybe conceivable to an idiot that he fled to Mexico for no reason. Yeah. And wasn't caught on any cameras. On the way through the border. I guess she was going to return and dispose of the body, right?
And you didn't tell Ms. Swartos what happened to you with Alex Woodworth, did you?
I was not ready, no.
You didn't tell her, correct?
Correct.
Right. You told her you couldn't remember, correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, you knew what happened, didn't you?
There was only bits and pieces of what had happened that was coming back to me.
You knew those bits and pieces, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that it had happened in that farm road near Mr. Sippel's residence, correct?
I didn't know exactly where that road was, but I know that it had happened on that road.
Right. And you knew.
And you shopped at Dress Barn, didn't you, ma'am? Correct. Nice one, Leslie.
that you had stabbed Alex Woodworth repeatedly, correct?
Yes.
And you knew the story that you told earlier today about Alex attacking you with a knife, correct?
No, I don't understand your question.
You knew what you testified about earlier today about Alex attacking you with a knife, correct?
I only knew parts of what had happened at that time.
But you didn't tell Ms. Swartos any of that, correct?
No,
All you told her is you can't remember anything, correct?
correct.
Ron, I don't know how much longer the court wants to go. I'm fine to keep going as long as the court wants to, but I've got a ways to go yet.
How much more cross do you believe?
Probably more than an hour.
All right. And Ms. Vishney, I assume there would be redirect for a substantial period of time?
I would not assume that, Judge.
Okay.
I'm not even sure there's going to be any.
All right. Well,
She's trying to make it look like I'm not even sure I'm going to need to redirect because this whole cross-examination has been full of shit. Yeah. The jury's not buying it, prosecutor. Mr. DeFore, and I'm not coming with you to Green Bay on a business trip. Get that through your head right now.
then I think this is a good time to break for the evening. Okay, counsel wish to go through today's sidebars, or do you want to wait till after the witness is concluded?
Oh, goody. Sidebars. I think we can leave the sidebars. You know, we'll just leave the sidebars out for now. Should we end the evening with some wise words from Mr. Sipple? What about some wise words from Mr. Sipple? It's only a few minutes. Where is the video now? It's a long trial. 3 solid weeks, 15-day trial. God, her aunt is really weird. That's her mum. Where's Mr. Sipple? Well, there he is. He's the first one.
Was a witness in the case, Don Sipple. Mr. Sipple?
You'll have to excuse me, my walk is a little slow. First off, I want to tell you I'm not here to take sides. I've been an observer of this whole situation going on 2 years now. Pretty close by. Ezra came to my door at 4:15 on March 22nd, 1918.
1918. 101 years ago, she came to my door, bleeding.
Asked me to, when I answered the door, she asked me to take her to the hospital, and caught me off guard, and I didn't know quite what to say. A few minutes later, why, she said I was assaulted. Then I knew what to do. I brought her into the house, got a chair out of the living room. This was a utility room where the door was, and got her into the utility room, got a chair out of the dining area, and and put her in a chair and call 911. I think some of you have already seen that, but I thought I'd just remind you again. 911 people came there in probably 10, 12 minutes, and they took care of it after that. But one thing I did hear late November, I didn't know what prompted me to do it, but I wrote Ezra a letter at the jail. And 3 weeks later, the 6th of December, she responded with a big brown envelope and a letter and 2 different pieces of art like I've never seen before. She drew them herself. That was the nicest art I've ever seen and one of the nicest letters I've ever seen. And after I read them all, I wish you guys could see them. Others, I still have them. We continued on, and now there's 5 total letters back and forth. I sure wish you could see them. But that first letter I got don't happen too easy for me, but it brought me to tears, the letter I got from her. We all make mistakes in this world. If you haven't done much. But hopefully we learn by the mistakes. I'm sure you all can think of something, maybe some more than one, but we've all made some mistakes. All I can hope for Ezra is that someday she can come out of this and be a beautiful, wonderful citizen in our area. I'm sure hoping that might happen. I've had some other contact with some of her people just recently and learned some new.
Well, unless she gets out in 6 months, I'm pretty sure you'll be gone, Mr. Sipple.
Things about this whole deal, and I won't bring that up now, but it would surprise you. I pray for her often, every day. I hope down the road that we'll still be friends, no matter what happens here today. Hope that we'll still be friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sippel.
Thank you very much. Judge, the next person who I'm going to ask to speak is Sharita Shaughnessy.
We all make mistakes in this world. Yeah, okay. Not like that, though. You know.
She also wrote a letter to the court. She's not going to read her full letter to the court because it's been filed, but
I've never seen this before. They're bringing in a fellow inmate, a past inmate. She was in on a 3rd DUI, and Ezra was kind to her in jail, and they've brought her in as a character witness. I guess they couldn't find anyone else.
she'd like to say a few words.
All right, and please state your name and spell it once you're, before you begin, okay? Yes, well, what?
Shaughnessy Davis, SHERYDA, SHOCKENCY-Davis.
Man, I got Davis, but the rest of it, even though she was spelling it out, I still wouldn't be able to even write that down. That was a... Can we hear that again? What is the name? Shaughnessy?
Her full letter.
Please state your name and spell it once you're, before you begin, okay? Yes, well, what?
Shaughnessy Davis, SHER.
S-H-E-R, sure.
YDA.
Y-D-A. Sharon D.
SHOCK.
S-H-O-C-K. Sharin Doc.
ENCY.
E-N-C-Y. Sharin Doc N-C. Sharin Doc N-C. What the hell kind of name is that?
Hyphen Davis. Shaughnessy Davis, SHERYDA, SHOCKENCY-Davis.
Okay, thank you.
DAVIS.
I'm baffled. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Amy. Sharinda Shakensi. Sharon Darkasy Davis. Sharon Darkasy. Sharon. Is that a common name? Where is that name from?
Okay. Well, I guess the best place for me to start. I met Ezra when I was incarcerated here in Dunn County. I was
She taught me how to spell my own name.
incarcerated for a third DUI that I had received after a very long, painful divorce I went through. It's not something I normally talk about, so I apologize. I went into jail thinking that was it. I had no friends, no family I really felt connected with, no real reason to kind of, have a positive outlook on life and try and find a new door to open that, I could put myself through. I also had the intentions of serving my time without making any friends in jail because of all of these common misconceptions that we get, with society and being incarcerated. And that wasn't the case. It didn't happen like that. I tried prior to even serving my sentence. I bore this mentality that I would shut everybody out and I would do myself and I would get by just fine if I believed that in my heart. And it didn't work out that way. I shut a lot of people out. And when I met Ezra, she kind of shined this light on me that I didn't want to see. I had thrown myself so far into the darkness, and she was just this positive light that showed me there was more than one door I could go through and that there were positive things on the other side of these doors. And, if I shut out the world, then I'm shutting out all of the things in the world that are great, love and life and friendship, family, true meanings that I'm sure everybody has found at one point or another in their lives. My background, other than that,
This is verging on inappropriate, isn't it? I mean, it's very unusual to see a fellow inmate come in and give a character witness.
really wasn't terrible. It was difficult to get through, sure, with the divorce. It was a loss of a partner and children, and it was something.
Don't say loss of children. Alex's fucking parents are in the room here.
That like I said, I don't talk
This woman here is praying. She thinks she's in church now.
much about it because it really kind of still bears with me. But over the last year itself, with just knowing her and seeing this light and seeing this person that, went through this thing in their lives that by my book is far worse than what I've gone through. And, she was still able to cast light, cast positivity, show me reasons why I myself can continue going forward. It's really helped me a lot, especially this last year. I was drinking a lot and I was suicidal, and I've come away from that a lot now. I have a lot of different reasons now on why
But not completely then, because otherwise you'd say so. So you still have a drink here and there. So you'll be back into heavy drinking because that's the nature of the game, right? I mean, you know, she's probably back in jail right now.
I believe that
I had a fourth DUI. I got married again and then had another terrible divorce. because of my drinking.
that I can go forward. And, you know, Ezra still to this day does that. She's helped me a lot. She saved me. She saved everything good about me. She helped me see the bad things that I didn't think I could change, that I now know I can. And I don't know where I'd be today having not spent that time with her, having not gotten to know her so that I could relearn who I was myself. And I'm forever grateful. And
Thanks so much, Angie, for the coffee. And just a reminder, guys, get those likes in. We've got about 2 minutes left on tonight's stream. Make a like, buy us a coffee, or just be here tomorrow.
I don't really know what else to say, but I can tell you for sure that my life is forever changed, and I don't think I could ever repay her for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we should close it off. It's 4:36 a.m. Okay, so the public have spoken, guys. We're doing Wendy's testimony tomorrow, 2019. God. It's going to be good to see the old gang again, you know, Georgia and Tarek Was and, you know, Wendy. No, it's going to be good. And we're going to have Judge Hankinson. Good old Judge Hankinson, the hammer. The hammer. And then what? For, Saturday, we'll do 2022 testimony. And then Sunday, our Sunday Fun Day, we'll do 2023 testimony. Monday, we'll be starting Sarah Boone jury selection, weather permitting. I mean, are we going to have another hurricane or what? And then, well, we're just going to play it by ear with Sarah Boone. We don't know when trial's actually going to start. But sometime next week, it looks like, right? Wednesday, maybe? Thursday? So that's what we're doing. But for now, we will bid you all farewell. Take care of everybody. Don't stab someone to death for no fucking reason and leave them to die and go and see a 90-year-old man and try and steal his cream corn. And we will see you amania. But where is our wonderful outro? I'm going to play that outro. Okay, good night, guys. Boss move.